BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Welcome along, everybody. We are back for more 100% action, and we are here in Hungary tonight. Then the Hungaroring hosts round 3 of the 100% season 2 of the 100% League, of course, season 3 of the Event League, with the F2 season in between. But welcome along, everybody. We've got an exciting one here for you tonight. Then a very technical, twisty circuit. Then a bit of a compromise compared to other circuits on the calendar, and we will see in just a few seconds' time when we load in what the drivers are going to be up to here in Hungary tonight. Then welcome along to the stream, everybody. Is this one a fuel burner? Says Gordo. I would not know myself, but there we go. We will get the details up and running then for the start of the qualifying here, and we can crack on then. Oh dear, I've lost the screen. There we go. Right then, we can get the details up on the way. Then we are ready to get going here in qualifying then for the Hungarian Grand Prix, and we can crack on then for the start of the event. Then good evening from Rocket Lizo then, and we have got some support in the comments then from Pinhead as well, once again supporting Coop in the Williams car. So good stuff indeed. Welcome to the stream, guys, and welcome to the Hungarian Grand Prix. The Hungaroring, of course, it's a bit of a preview, this one, for the main divisions. Then gold, silver and bronze then will be racing in Hungary from Sunday, Monday and Tuesday this coming weekend. So a bit of a preview then, this one, of course, in terms of what's coming up then ahead for the other divisions then. But 100% then we'll be tackling 70 laps around the Hungaroring. Of course, it's a very short lap time, but the 70 laps then might take its toll then on some drivers, and especially with the technicalities of the circuit. Then through into sector 2 we go then for Liam, and you can see the complexity of the circuit then compared to those that we've had a few technical corners, I suppose you could say, in Spain in the previous round then, where we saw Gordo then take the championship lead then after a very consistent start to the season. Of course, AlphaTauri of Lucas Percy that did get the win then in Spain last week, and he has got himself a nice charge then after a difficult race in the opening Grand Prix in Austria, where he ran out of fuel then with the last few laps remaining then, and unfortunately was not able to take the checkered flag there because of that issue then. So hopefully fuel might be an issue then around here. I think we've had a few drivers in the comment section in the Discord, that is, saying that it's an issue with the fuel around here. So maybe some lifting and coasting, maybe some fuel saving at parts of the Grand Prix as well then, to make sure they can get to that finish line as well. Here comes Here comes Liam. Yeah, I should mention we've had some team changes, of course, just to balance up the grid a bit more as well. Then Liam, has switched from the Williams there to the Alfa Romeo. Then X-Gamer has switched from the Alfa Romeo to the Williams in a straight swap there. We've also got, who else have we got? We've got who else have we got then? R2B then in the Alpine now, of course, moving up from the Haas. The same for Kydell, moving from the Haas there to the McLaren then, with Farth and Kamara Racer dropping down to the Haas team in place of those two. We've also got Sick as Muck there switching with Martin then in the Aston Martin, and Aston Martin for Sick as Muck, I should say, and Martin into the Ferrari then, just a straight swap for those two as well then. So I believe that's all the changes there. Vessia, has dropped down from the McLaren there in place of Kydell, and has gone into the Alpine as well then. So that is your team changes. Quite a few to jostle up the grid then, but hopefully we can now have a bit more of a balanced setting then for the rest of the season. Car number 66 of Liam going purple, of course, in Sector 2 because he is the first man on track then here in the qualifying for the Hungarian Grand Prix, which is coming up in about 15 minutes time. So there we go then. That's good stuff indeed, isn't it? Right then, we'll get ourselves underway very shortly. And I think we're going to have a late joiner then. So so we'll just message Cam then to we want to have a late joiner to make it a full grid as well. So New Zealand Cam, they will be joining in the AlphaTauri then, who is replacing German here tonight. German has come down with food poisoning, unfortunately for him. So that is why he is not here tonight then in the AlphaTauri then. Unfortunately for German then, after winning the first race of the season, he's not having a great turnout then for the rest of the campaign so far. He's missed last race, and he's also missing tonight's race as well then. So unfortunately for German there, he's not going to be taking, well, not not going to be able to get any points there for himself and the constructors in the standings, unfortunately, in this round there. Sickers Muck is the second driver to set a time, then he's done a 16.9 then on the soft compound tyres. Kamara Racer up to a 17.1 in the Haas then in his second outing, I should say, of the season. Coop into P4, I should say, with a 17.396. And those are the 4 drivers there to set the time so far. Lucas Percy is on track. He is further ahead than Kydell, so we'll stick on board with the current race podium leader, I suppose you could say, because in terms of the race wins, he is on top of the order as it stands, alongside his teammate German, and of course, who else won in the previous Grand Prix? I can't remember now; it's too far back. But I'm very sorry indeed who I've forgotten. But there we go. Then here we go. Then Lucas Percy around the final couple of corners, then to finish off the lap, then a 16.6 then from the AlphaTauri, then in behind Liam Yeh as it stands at the moment. Then of course he is looking good indeed in the AlphaTauri, of course a much slower car than the Alfa Romeo, but he is looking strong indeed. Here comes Kydell with that team change now into the McLaren. There's a Red Bull in front of us. Hopefully that Red Bull gets out of the way. That is not getting out of the way though, unfortunately for Kydell. That is getting treacherous indeed. Then he has got out of the way finally, but I don't think Vintage, I think it was Vintage there, was aware of the McLaren right behind him then into sector 3. But here comes Kydell then up into P3 with a 16.9 then for the Belgian driver. Great stuff indeed for the McLaren, and I think he's looking more suitable then in the new orange papaya car instead of the Haas Mobile then in the previous 2 rounds. Martin is also on track there. We'll have a look at Martin because he's in a new team as well then in the Ferrari this time instead of the Aston Martin. And now into sector 3 we go then for the Ferrari driver as he's completed the first 2 sectors very nicely indeed. I didn't see what the Delta was saying there, unfortunately. I just missed it then, so hopefully we can see what Martin can do as he crosses the finish line, as he's just got one more complex of corners, and the long left-hander and then the long right-hander, a mirrored corner, and then into the final, or the main straight, then the final part of the lap, then a 17.8 then for Martin, then puts himself P8 as it stands as well. Then Ginner is on track as well. We'll come back to him. I think Vintage is a bit further along there. They're not too far away from each other on track actually, so here comes Vintage into sector 3. And we can crack on then as up there, on my way, says Cam. So Cam is in the car, I think. So Cam, sorry, I'm trying to sort out all what's going on here. Cam is in the AlphaTauri, reserving in place of German tonight. Then he's the only reserve on the grid tonight. So almost we do have a full grid of full-time drivers then, but unfortunately German with his food poisoning has put paid to that. Vintage there into the so we've got Ginner going faster still with a 16.398. Then Ginner looking fantastic there in the Mercedes as it stands. Vintage, I don't think, is a representative time then from the Red Bull driver. I think he might be going around again to start off another lap. Then we'll come back to him. Vessia going to cross the line now in the Alpine. Let's see what Vessia can do then. Up to P4 there with an 16.863. Very good stuff indeed from Vessia. Of course, switching from the McLaren to the Alpine, but it doesn't look like it's hampered his pace at all in the Alpine car now. The pink and blue car instead of the orange papaya. But he's done a great job indeed there in qualifying. Yellow flags. I think it's for a AlphaTauri just getting out of the way then of Vintage, who is flying through into the chicane then in the middle of the sector 2, and now negotiating through the next part of the circuit as well. Looking good indeed. The New Zealand Cam is on track as well. He is of course reserving in the AlphaTauri in place of Gerben. Here comes Vintage then. He's 1.7 seconds up on his time. That would put him in the range of an 18.5 I believe, but he could improve even more through sector 3 as well. Here he comes now round the penultimate turn. Let's see what the Red Bull driver can do. Can he get himself into the top 10 then? Can he improve by enough into that top 10 range as he comes round the final corner then to complete the lap time? It's a 17.9 then. He stays P11 unfortunately for Vintage, but he's only a tenth of a second away now instead of 3 seconds, so that is much better indeed then for Vintage. New Zealand Cam is on track as well then. This is his first time on the board then, his first appearance in the 100% league as well. So we'll see what the driver can do then. Of course, has raced in reserved in gold then in previous seasons and this season as well already. So we'll see what he can do then on the circuit. Then once again then round into the final couple of corners then to finish off the first flying lap then for the AlphaTauri. It's a 17.0, puts himself P7. They're just behind Sick as Muck then, who is P6, and I completely missed his time there, but Sick as Muck there looking good indeed as well. fantastic start to qualify. Then we've got 9 minutes left then. A few drivers still to set a time on the board then, but we've got some fantastic performances already, it looks like, from the grid that who've already got themselves a lap time on the board, and it is looking pretty strong here in Hungary once again. Then it looks like it's nice and sunny then for the qualifying at least. We're not sure what the weather is going to be like for the Grand Prix itself, but I will have to double check that, because I can not see what is going on in the comment section, because hopefully somebody can tell me what's going on in the comment section, because I have no idea what the weather is going to be like for the Grand Prix itself. Then that is where it's going to be. That is where it's going to be most important, of course, isn't it? That is where the points are scored. As there we go. Then morning from Luke. Then more, of course, he's over in Australia, is Luke. So a warning from you. Hither we go. So I thought that said something else there. Hither we go, says Equaz. Good evening from Serious Mushroom, evening from Rocket Lizo, and evening from Chappers as well. Then Chappers there is in the comments as well, with Pinhead supporting Coop, I think. So is Reaps in the comment section as well. Then good stuff indeed. Welcome to the stream, guys, and welcome to the track then for Gorda. Then his first outing here in Hungary. He's almost lost the back end there through into Sector 2, and now trying to negotiate the Mercedes through the next part of the track, I should say. Purple in Sector 2 as well. That is looking good indeed. Equaz goes fastest with a 16.320, just a few tenths, or a few hundredths of a second, I should say, ahead of Jinner. Both the Alfa Romeos looking pretty good here in Hungary. Of course, the handling models, of the cars will adapt to different circuits and be better at different circuits than others. Here comes Gorda, then up to the line. It's P5 from Gorda, the current championship leader, after two consistent performances, a P4 and a P3, I think it was. P2, sorry, in Spain last week. So, very good stuff indeed from Gorda. Then puts himself P5 as it stands. Kaidel's back out on circuit. We'll come back to him. Coop just starting another lap, then so is Martin. We'll come back to Kaidel, actually, because Kaidel, I think, is going through into Sector 3 now, and he is 4 tenths up on his time. That would put him in the range of getting himself onto the second row of the grid, I think, ahead of Liam Yeh, potentially, if he can complete the lap and complete the pace on this lap as well. Then round the final corner then for the McLaren driver. Let's see what he can do then up to the line. It is going to be a 16.4, puts himself P3 with a fantastic lap time indeed, very much improved then on the previous lap as well, by almost half a second as well there, which is great stuff from the McLaren driver. Kaidel there looking much better in the orange than he was looking in the Haas. So that is very good stuff indeed. Cordo in P6 then as it stands there. R2 beat is back out on circuit as well. They're looking to improve on a 17.2. Coop coming through into Sector 3 now as well. He's 3 tenths up. That would put him in the range of Cam. They're in the top 9, and that might be, well, if he can improve even further, he might be able to get himself even a couple more positions than that as well. Almost losing the back end then as he tries to put the power down quickly out of the penultimate corner, then around the final corner this time for the Williams driver, and now on the power straight away to the line. Then it's a 16.9, puts himself P8, and that is good stuff indeed then from Coop in the Williams. Great stuff indeed. Dry, says Serious Mushroom. That is the weather condition, so it's nice and dry then for the Grand Prix, which I think some drivers are very keen on. Apart from Farf, because I think as Beat there has unfortunately invalid his time, then he's coming back to the pit lane now in the Alpine. Martin is back out on circuit, going through into Sector 2 now as well. So let's see what Martin can do, as we'll switch over to Martin in a minute. We've got Gamer coming round. He's coming back to the pit lane as Gamer. Then 18.0 for Gamer, not good enough as it stands there for anything higher than P15, but there's still time on the board then for the Williams driver. Of course, the new Williams driver then after switching with Liam Yeh then into the Williams then, and Liam going back to the Alfa Romeo in return. Then Movement Ninja is back out on track, or first lap on track, I should say, for the other McLaren driver. Kaidel has already got himself a time on the board. Then Movement Ninja looking to get himself his first time on the board. Then he goes through the chicane there over the curbs, and that does unsettle the car very decently. And unfortunately around here, especially with the setups that you've got on the cars as well. Cutting through now into Sector 3. Let's see what Moomin can do then. He's gone into Sector 3 now as well. He didn't set a time. He didn't set a sector time for me on that screen. But hopefully he can set a valid lap time in the next few seconds or so. Then 4.5 minutes left of the qualifying session here in Hungary. And let's see how it's going to develop, how it's going to open up then in the next few stages. Of course, there's going to be some drivers preparing to go back out for one final run, I should say, into P14. Goes moving to 17.7 there for the McLaren driver, just ahead of Vintage. Gamer is back in the pit lane. There's a lot of people in the pit lane still who are not coming out just yet. Jinner is up into P2, and can he improve on a 16.398? Then can he get himself onto that pole position then for the Hungarian Grand Prix? I think the Mercedes with the handling of the actual car, I think is a lot more suited to the Hungarian Grand Prix than some other cars, I should say. But we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold. Who is going to take precedent here in Hungary? Then who is going to be on pole position then for the 70 laps that are going to unfold here in the Hungaroring in just a few minutes' time? Then here comes Gino then up to the line. What's it going to be? It's an improvement of half a tenth, I should say, but it's not enough to take pole position away from Equaz as it stands. There he goes. It stays in P2, I should say, with a 16.340. Good stuff indeed. Lucas Percy up into P5, then not where the AlphaTauri wants to be, but outperforming the AlphaTauri in some style, as we've been accustomed to in the first 2 rounds as well. Then for Lucas Percy and for German as well in the previous races as well. Into Sector 3, then purple in Sector 2, and that is looking promising stuff indeed then for the AlphaTauri driver. Can he get himself enough of an improvement? He needs 3.5 tenths or so to get himself on pole position round the final corner. Let's see what Lucas Percy can do then on the power as quickly as possible, then up to the line. It's a 16.214, and that is pole position as it stands then for Lucas Percy. A great lap time indeed, a tenth of a second away from P2 of Equaz as it stands, and that is looking formidable in stuff indeed then for Lucas Percy then, with a great lap time indeed then, currently on pole position. Then Gino has invalidated his time coming back to the pit lane. Here comes Kamara, he's also invalidated his time as well. R2 beat off the circuit, just letting some other cars come through, but I don't think I think they're all on out laps there, R2 beat, so you don't have to worry too much. Into pits comes Kamara Racer, then he's called it a day in P11 as it stands there. He's just outside the top 10 by a tenth of a second, or less than a tenth of a second actually, so it is not all doom and gloom for Kamara Racer. My Mercedes is Serious Mushroom then. I'm not sure what he's referring to there, but there we go then. Serious Mushroom yet to come out of the pit lane then, so he's not going to be setting a time in qualifying as we're accustomed to. Same for Reflection, Hungry Stars and Farth, then they decided to lose their car keys in the pit lane, and that is going to be costly for them then, because they're not going to be able to set a time in the qualifying session. They've run out of time as well here, I think, to get themselves onto the circuit then, to get a lap time on the board at least. Here comes Liam Yer then round the final corner to start off the next flying lap. I think he's going to be the first. He is going to be the first then to get ourselves underway then for the final attempt here in qualifying for the qualifying of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Of course, Lucas Percy has retired in the pit lane. He is done and dusted. He thinks he's happy with that time there. 16.2 is going to be enough then for pole position. Then here we'll find out then in the next few seconds who is going to be taking the charge. Oh, is Liam Yer gone very deep there into turn 2 then, and that is he's lost a couple of tenths there. I think he's abandoned his lap time as well. Off the circuit goes Liam Yer. He's got time, I think, to come back round if he's got enough fuel on board. That is the question. But we'll find out in the next few seconds, I think, as well. Vintage is furthest along, I think, now after Liam Yer abandoned his lap time. Then let's see what the Red Bull driver can do then. Into the chicane we go, and he is, of course, trying to negotiate through that technical sector. Very difficult stuff indeed there, making sure you get that lap nailed on straight away. Then it is very, very tough indeed. There's a lot of pressure on the drivers then to get the lap time absolutely spot on then in this qualifying. Around into Sector 3, he is a tenth and a bit up as well on his time. That will put him in the range of P14 of movement as it stands then. Let's see what the Red Bull driver can do then as we go round the penultimate corner. Very wide there, a very wide entry to the penultimate corner, I should say then, and now into the final corner as well then for the Red Bull. Again, a very wide entry then. Can he maximise the pace on the exit then up to the line? What's it going to be from Vintage? It's a tenth and a half improvement. He stays P15 for the time being though. Good stuff indeed then. Movement has started a lap, so has Martin. R2 Beat is coming back round, I think, to start off another lap as well. New Zealand Cam just starting a lap then, same for Sick as Muck. Then we'll come back to him. Where is the next driver to cross the start finish line? I think Liam Yer is going again, then he has got time to go again. Only 4 seconds though, but he's managed to get himself across the line. Equaz unfortunately has invalidated his lap time, so that is Equaz done and dusted. Then he is not going to be able to improve then in this qualifying, and he will be staying P2 at best then in this qualifying as well. Ginner stays P3 after not getting to the start finish line in time. Same for Coop. I think Coop has not been able to improve on his previous time. Kamara didn't come back out of the pit lane there, unfortunately, for the Haas team. So Haas are going to be 11th and 17th at best, it looks like, at this stage of the qualifying as well. Then we've got a Ferrari coming through the final couple of corners. Here comes Martin. Let's see what Martin can do then in the red prancing horse. Up to the line then, he is improved by a tenth of a second. He stays P13 for the time being as well. Good stuff from him. Into the pits comes an Alfa Romeo. I think that might... No, it's not an Alfa Romeo. It's, yeah, I think it might be Equaz. Movement up into P12. They has improved by 5/10 of a second. And half a second improvement there from Movement. Great stuff indeed then from the McLaren driver. We'll have to ride on board with somebody else and find out who's doing what then. R2 Beat is up into P, down into P13, I should say. Vintage is retired in the pit lane. Sick as Muck has finished his lap. He's up into P6 now, and that is looking good. Gordo and Bolshin has invalidated his time. Then Vessia has improved only slightly then, but he stays P8 for the time being. R2 Beat stays P13 there, unfortunately did not improve. Then here comes Gamer up to the line. What can Gamer do? He's up into P9 there ahead of his teammate of Coop, then into P9, then both the Williams there into the top 10. Great stuff indeed from Gamer. Then Gordo's back in the pit lane after abandoning his time, or invalidating his time there, unfortunately. So that is your qualifying done and dusted, really. So it's all over quite quickly indeed. But Lucas Percy then is your pole sitter then for the Hungarian Grand Prix by just over a tenth of a second there to Equaz, who unfortunately had invalidated his time in the final outing there, so he was not able to improve. But that is your qualifying done and dusted then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. We'll be into the race in just about a minute's time or so, so stay tuned for that one. It is going to be an epic start to the Hungarian Grand Prix, I don't doubt. Then Lucas Percy then, like I said, pole sitter, then Equaz on the front row of the grid there in P2, Jinner in P3, and Kaidel into the McLaren there is looking good there on the second row of the grid as well. Liam in P5, Sick as Muck P6, then Gordo in P7, Levesia in P8, X-Gamer in P9, both the Williams there in the top 10 there. Coop in P10 in the Williams. New Zealand Cam P11 there. He was only able to improve by a tenth of a second there on his first outing. Kamara Racer P12, Moving in P13, R2 Beat P14, Martin in P15, Vintage in P16. Unfortunately, Favre, Hungary Stars, Serious Mushroom and Reflection did not get a time on the board here in this qualifying. So they will be starting from the back of the grid.
BoxBox Hub is an absolute essential for any Formula One fan, and the entire app with new widgets, statistics, localized race schedules, and countdowns, you name it. They even have support for Apple's new live activities feature with real-time updates during a race right on the lock screen, and honestly, some of the best looking widgets I've seen.
Check out BoxBox then, if you haven't already, then all the information, all the widgets, all of the standings you need for your home screen on your phone for the new F1 season that is starting in just over a couple of weeks' time now, in terms of the testing, that is. So we haven't got long to wait now for the start of the F1 season. Get the BoxBox app then ready for that one as well. And of course, if you've got any pennies left over, feel free to support ALR. Then everything from the ALR Shop sales goes back into the league then to support the league and obviously grow the league as well. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Jump into that one as well if you want to. You're always welcome. And any links in the description that you need are available down in the comment section, further down from the comment section, but they're somewhere down there at the bottom there. So yeah, feel free to jump into that one. But we've got some racing now to take us away then here in Hungary. Lucas Percy then will be setting the precedent then for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. We'll have a look at the compound of tyres that everybody is on for their race starts. Lucas Percy saying that no way to set a good lap in quality. It's the first time ever, says the AlphaTauri driver there. He's looking good indeed on pole position and on the soft compound tyres to start off the Grand Prix as well. There's a couple on soft compound of Vessia and Gamer as well in P8 and P9 respectively. New Zealand Cam and Kamara Racer also starting on the soft compound as well. Then it seems like the majority have gone for the medium compound tyres, apart from Moomin Ninja in P13 on the hard. Same for Vintage in P16 and Reflection. So those three looking for a much longer opening stint then to the start of this Grand Prix then, but we'll see how it all fares, who is going to be in the prime position then in terms of the strategy in the next few laps, in the next 70 laps or so, who will come out on top here in Hungary. Right, we're almost ready to get going then, and we are going to have to wait for the drivers to get themselves lined up on the grid then for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix, and they will be taking us through 70 laps around here. It's going to be a bit of a grueling task, I think, but we'll see who is up to the challenge, and we will get ourselves underway in just a few seconds time. The formation lap almost complete now, and we can crack on then with the start of the race. And look, as I said, nice and sunny here in Hungary as well, so it's not looking too shabby in terms of the weather conditions at the moment. Then hopefully that stays the same then for the rest of the Grand Prix, because of course I think some drivers will be very much favourable then to stay in the dry conditions rather than race around here in the rain, because it's a bit of a difficult circuit in the dry, nonetheless in the wet then. So we'll have to wait and see who is going to be coming out on top then. This one, currently Lucas Percy is looking strong, but we will find out who is going to be doing the best then as we start ourselves ready. We'll get ourselves ready then for the start lights and for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix, round 3 of the 100% League here in season 2 then. Oh, I think we've got 5 red lights coming on here in Hungary, and the 5 red lights are out, and away we go then for the start of the Hungarian Grand Prix. Is there going to be a good start then? Equaz has got a great start indeed. He's already side by side with Lucas Percy. Percy coming across the circuit then to try and push him into the braking zone. We go then down the inside goes Equaz. Can he hold the move though into turn 2? And he can't, unfortunately. Lucas Percy on the soft compound tyres then I think has got himself through and back into the race lead then. But Equaz is still holding it round the outside. It looks like into turn 2, but he can't quite make the move. Jenner and Kaidel switching places as Kaidel trying to go down the inside of the Mercedes, but he can't quite hold the move and stays P4. Gordo and Sikasmuk switching places as well. Into turn 4 we go. This is not where you want to go side by side, and thankfully I think everyone's got through unscathed at the moment as well. Good stuff indeed then. Here comes Liam. Yeah, Liam has lost 2 places then to Gordo and Sikasmuk then in the opening couple of corners there, but he's got himself back underway then, has Liam, yeah, trying to chase down the rest of the pack then. New Zealand Cam and Kamara Racer switching places as we go into sector 2. Like I said, this is not a great overtaking circuit, especially with the narrowness of the circuit as well, and the complexities around this technical course. Martin up into P15, or stays in P15 after getting himself back past Moomin. Moomin's lost out 3 places then, unfortunately for the McLaren driver then, as we go into sector 3 for the first time. There's a serious mushroom right in the background there as well, trying to get himself past the 2 Red Bulls, but out in front Lucas Percy then is setting the pace then, of course, on the soft compound tyre. He's going to be much faster than those right behind him as it stands then at 25.5 then for the first flying lap then, as the deltas have not sorted themselves out once again then. So hopefully that will cross when they cross the line to end lap 2. That will sort themselves out as well. Only one DRS zone around this circuit, and that is on the main straight. The detection point is actually at the end of the lap then, so that will not be activated on lap 3. That'll be activated at the end of lap 3 there, onto lap 4 as we go through into sector 1, for the first or second time I should say. Favre's got himself past his teammate, up 5 places already as Favre. He's really going for it indeed then. Kamara Racer on the soft compound tyres then would be looking to try and get himself further forward, but he's lost out a place then to his teammate so far in this Grand Prix. Sikasmuk up 1 place and now trying to put the pressure on Kaidel, trying to keep up with the rest of the pack then is Kaidel, who is now losing out to Jinner and needs to try and stay within that 1 second window at least then to hold on to that DRS range. Equaz there has lost out of that DRS range already then to Lucas Percy. Then 1.3 is the gap then to the top 2, from the top 2 I should say, as Lucas Percy on the soft compound tyres, like I was saying at the beginning of the Grand Prix, is stretching his legs already then at the start of this one as well. And we have seen some different strategies then from Lucas Percy. We might see some more as Vessia and X Game are battling away then into the penultimate corner then, and the Williams has got himself ahead I think there into P8 then, and up into P8 then, just blazing Vessia down to P9 as it stands then. Lucas Percy sets the fastest lap of the race once again then, of course on the soft compound. He is trying to stretch his legs right now to try and get himself a nice enough gap. Then DRS has been enabled then. Kaidel has dropped out that 1 second window to the Mercedes driver of Jinner, and that is going to be costly indeed at the end of the next lap then, because Sikasmuk will be looking to try and get himself past the McLaren then with the aid of DRS there down the main straight then at the end of this lap here now, as it seems to be they've all sort of started to spread out there at the front now, so it's all the battle down the rest of the pack. And it looks like here comes New Zealand Cam. Can he get himself past Coop? Not quite, and he has to slot in behind then, stays P11 for the time being then. Favre all over the back now of New Zealand Cam there into turn 4, and this is, like I said, not where you want to go for a move really, because side by side through here is treacherous, and going through there on your own is quite treacherous to be fair, but thankfully they've got themselves through unscathed. Very, very good stuff indeed then. There's always action all over the pack there. Unfortunately, Reflection has dropped off the back there. I'm not quite sure if Reflection's struggling down there, but he seems to have an issue there as the Aston Martin driver. I'm not quite sure. He didn't qualify, and is now struggling at the back of the field as well there for the Aston Martin, unfortunately, for Reflection. So yeah, big shame there for Reflection. Hopefully he can get himself sorted. New Zealand Cam and Coop battling away again. Once again, Coop is being overtaken this time by the AlphaTauri. Oh, into the back of the Williams goes far. I'm not sure if that was any damage there on fast front wing, but that could be costly indeed. There it seems to be carrying on at this stage. Coop now has lost out. Then, like I said, to New Zealand Cam, but can he come back? Can he fight back then with the aid of some DRS there? DRS available for the Haas of Bath as well. He's going to line up a move there down the inside into turn one on the Williams driver. He's deep on the brakes, and he's very late, deep on the brakes, I should say, and he's very much put his elbows out there as far there. Into P11 goes the Haas there. Here comes an Alpine of got R2 beat then on the inside of Kamara Race, and then up into P13 has gone beat, and up into P13 now chasing after the Williams of Coop as well. Then Moomin and Martin battling away. Moomin has got himself past the Ferrari, then now it's a Ferrari 1-2. Well, now it's a Ferrari 16-17, I should say, really, and a Red Bull 18-19. Then right behind the McLaren of Moomin. Then he's 5 seconds back there from the rest of the pack ahead there as it stands at the moment there. But like I said, the strategies will come back into people's favours later on in the Grand Prix, and we will see the soft compound tyres, I think, start to run out in the opening few. Oh dear, off the circuit goes Ginner there. We'll see a few drivers then, I think, lose a bit of time then on the soft compound tyres in the opening few 15 laps or so, I would imagine. And then the mediums and the hards will phase in to their competitors as well. Then Martin and Sickers, not Martin and Sickers, then Martin and Serious Mushroom have switched places. Then Martin down to P17, the Ferrari of Serious Mushroom. Then back up ahead now of his teammate, up 3 places. There is Serious Mushroom, and trying to chase down the McLaren of Moomin now. The gap coming down between Moomin and Kamara Racing now as well. Then Kamara struggling a bit out there on the soft compound tyres. Maybe the tyre temperatures, of course, the tyre temperatures around this circuit are a nightmare. So the drivers there will hopefully have moved their tyre pressures down as low as possible then for the start of this Grand Prix, or for the rest of this Grand Prix as well. I should say you can't change your tyre pressures after you started the race. So that is another factor that needs to be thought of before the race gets underway, as well as all the fuel, as well as all the tyre strategies, as well as everything else that they have to worry about. They have to worry about the tyre pressures as well, especially around this circuit. So there we go then. Kaidel trying to cling onto the back of Ginner trying to cling onto the back of Ekbaz as well as it stands. These drivers there doing a great job out there. As it stands, there's nobody who's had any issues in the opening 5 laps. I'm gonna jinx it now with the commentator's curse, but there we are. But so far so good then for all drivers then on the circuit. Then Reflection seems to be struggling though with the car. Then the Aston Martin is not playing to his hands as it stands there, 3 seconds back there from the field, and really not having a great time out there, unfortunately, for Reflection. Hopefully he can get that sorted and get himself back into this Grand Prix. Then we're sliding the car. There was Gorda there trying to get the power down and quickly out of the penultimate corner, then around trying to get himself as close to Sick as Muck as possible then as we go into lap 6 now, the final few corners there, final corner, I should say, of lap 5, and now onto lap 6. Here comes Sick as Muck there. Can he line up a move then on the McLaren? There's a late dive there. That's a massive dive bomb indeed there. Kaido, I think, didn't see it coming then, and I don't think Sick as Muck even saw it coming, to be fair, as Beat has got himself past Coop then into P12, has he? Yes, he has done. Up into P12 now for the Alpine driver. Good stuff indeed. And Hungary Styles got himself past Martin as well, down in the background as well. Martin trying to fight back though on the Red Bull driver. Then can he get himself past into... Oh, there's contact between the two of them again. And blimey, this stuff, what is going on here between the two of these two, as they're really fighting tooth and nail then for P17. Styles has lost out there to the Ferrari driver. So they're battling at the back of the field then is pretty intense, it looks like, as Serious Mushroom there is got himself ahead now of Moomin and trying to get that gap down to Kamara Racer as well. Then out in front, it is a 3.5 second gap there to Lucas Percy for Equaz. Lucas Percy stretching his legs, like I was saying, those soft compound tyres working wonders then at the start of this Grand Prix, but they will of course start to drop off a lot earlier than those on the mediums and the hards behind him as well. So that might come into the factor then of the pit stop strategy then for Lucas Percy in the short term as well. We'll have to find out. But there we are then. Ginner that is I think just about outside of DRS range then of the Alfa Romeo then, but of course the straight line speed in the Mercedes is slightly better than the straight line speed in the Alfa Romeo. Sick as Muck then has got himself past Kaidel, but Kaidel can't make a move back for that position there. Gordo and Liam under pressure from the Mercedes, under pressure then from the Alfa Romeo into turn 1 and now turn 2 as well. Then Liam just looking to line up a move if he can, just trying to get the open the door if he can and get himself through into P6 there. X Gamer has got got himself back up into P8 now as well, and is chasing down these two right ahead of him. Then they're all in a bit of a pack right now with the DRS train as well, kind of trying to make sure they keep it nice and safe there through the technical parts of the circuit to keep themselves on the track there. Of course, if anybody goes off, it usually will result in a massive pile up because everyone's so close together as well as they go through the chicane once again. Trying to negotiate the chicane as quickly as possible then is very difficult indeed, especially with the dirty air there of the car in front if you're that close to the car ahead as well. That is Martin and Martin and Hungry Style, sorry, once again are battling away then as we go into the chicane, and there is Martin off the circuit. Then Styles has gone through, Vintage has gone through as well. Then Martin has to slot into P19, and I'm not quite sure what was going on there, but we just saw the end of it then. Both of the cars seem to fly off at the chicane in the middle part of Sector 2 then, unfortunately, but we'll have to wait and see what that was about, what that was all about, to be honest, because we'll come back to it. Here comes Ginna now trying to line for move for P2 there on the back of Ekwaz there into turn 1 we go. Late on the brakes goes Ekwaz there, trying to hold the move around the outside, hold position there for P2 around the outside, but Ginna now has got some DRS, extra double dosage of DRS, of course. There's only one detection point, but there's 2 activation points as Ginna now takes P2. Ekwaz trying to slide his way back through at turn 2 as well, now into turn 3, but the Mercedes has got himself ahead now. 4.8 seconds is the gap there to Lucas Percy out in front, of course, on the soft compound tyres, but he is setting the pace, setting the precedent as it stands as well then to get us through this Grand Prix as quickly as possible, which is great indeed for me because my voice is going to go at the end of this one. But there we go then. Ginna up one place there into P2 there onto the second step of the podium. Then Ekwaz down into P3. Stickers up there has dropped off the back of this battle, but he's actually brought a bit more time back in the favour now of the of his charge for the podium places. Kydell there in P5 there, slotting himself into P5 there after losing that place to Sickers Muck a couple of laps ago now. Gordo in P6 still staying strong there, surviving the challenge then from Liam Yeh. As it stands, Martin has picked up a penalty then. I think that was the penalty for going off at the chicane, but he has got himself back underway now. Reflection still struggling out there and not having a great time of things in the Aston Martin there, but hopefully he can get himself sorted and get himself back up the order then, because of course we've seen some great pace there from the Aston Martin of Reflection, and of course he got a podium then in Austria in the opening round of the season as well, so he has got the pace in that car. It's just not working for him here today. New Zealand Cam and Vestia switching places as well down the inside. Sorry, goes the AlphaTauri. There's a car off in the foreground. There is Liam Yeh off in the foreground. Then he's been passed by Gamer. Not sure if there was a helping hand then for the Alfa Romeo then, but he seems to have struggled getting himself round turn 1 there, and he's lost out then to X Gamer then, who's up into P7 now in the Williams. Good stuff indeed. Of course, those two did change teams between round 2 and round 3, that is, onto a new set of tyres then for Martin, and I think there's a wing change there for the Ferrari, I should say. It's a set of medium compound tyres then for the Ferrari, but he has had to change that front wing as a yellow flag. Yellow flag, it Styles off the circuit then at the exit of turn 3, flying through there, and unfortunately, as you can see, Reflection coming through as well now. But Styles has got himself back underway. Yeah, unfortunately for Styles, then that is the first sort of casualty then of the technicalities of this circuit. Then it's really easy to spin the car around, and thankfully he got himself back underway without any damage as well. Then we did see Favre pick up a penalty as well. Then it wasn't connected to that incident there, but Favre they're picking up a 3-second penalty. There is only 2 drivers with 3-second penalties so far, and that is Martin there, who has just made his pit stop then, and Favre then in P11 as it stands as well. Then Favre trying to get himself back into the top 10, or into the top 10 I should say. He's up 6 places already. He's the furthest driver to get himself through the field so far in terms of gained places, that is, but he's up 6 places now from P17. The rest of the field, like I said, it's so close out here. On to lap 10 then, it's still not spread out so much compared to the top 2 drivers. Then the drivers around the top 10 really are still in the fight then for every single point, every single position as it stands, and this is epic stuff indeed then to see in the 100% realistic division, and looking forward to seeing how it's going to unfold as well. We've got 10 laps completed, as Hungry Styles is also into the pit lane as well. Then I think Styles then is in for a wing change as well. Then so I'm not quite sure what's gone on between Martin and Hungry Styles then, but they've both had to come in for a wing change, and Martin is going to take back that place. Then Hungry Styles is into the box then to get onto a set of hard compound tyres. So must have been some sort of antics going on between those two, as both have had to come in for a wing change, unscheduled stops I believe as well. But there we are then. So here we go. Ekwaz there trying to get himself back into P2 and trying to chase down Lucas Percy Percy in the long term as well. Of course, we do expect Lucas Percy's tyres to drop off quicker than those behind him because he's on the soft compounded tyres, whereas everybody else, I think, is on the medium compound tyre and medium. There's a couple of soft runners as well then in terms of X-Gamer and New Zealand Cam and Vessia in the top 10 as it stands as well. Here comes here comes Equaz around the outside of Ginner this time, then trying to get himself around the outside to hold on to the inside then for turn 2, and he's got the move, he's got the traction, and he's got the DRS as well then to help him into turn 2, and he's got the move back up into P2 as well. Has Equaz, good stuff indeed then, and a great calculated move indeed as well then for the Alfa Romeo driver. Then he has got control once again then. Kaidel's got himself past Sicker's Muck then. I was watching the battle then for P2, but Kaidel is back up into P4 then, getting past Sicker's Muck then into turn 1 and 2 as well. Down the order, I think we've had a change there. I think Kamara Racer has just lost out to Serious Mushroom then on the soft compound tyres. Then he's trying to power through where is he? Is Kamara Racer, sorry. RT Beat then is trying to get himself that gap there down to Farth. Then he's currently within the penalty window of Farth, but that would only get him one place there into P11 as it stands there. Currently he's not outside, he's outside the top 10. Vesio looking strong indeed then in the top 10 as well on the soft compound tyres. Those soft compounds will drop off quickly. I think they're not quite sure what the tyre life is like round of this circuit, but we I don't expect the soft compound tyres to last too much more than 20 laps, and potentially within range of 15 to 20 laps I would expect the pit stops to start to unfold then for those on the soft compound tyres, especially with the heavy fuel load at the beginning of this Grand Prix as well. Then they're going to be starting to scream, I think, in the next lap or two, so we'll have to find out who's going to do what. Right then, good stuff indeed. So Vessia then is trying to keep up with the rest of the pack then, and he's doing a good job then, is Vessia then. Liam is almost on the back, in the diffuser I should say, of X-Gamer then, trying to get that place back then after going off the circuit at turn 1, but he's got himself a bit of a challenge to try and get himself through. Then X-Gamer I think will have to pit early, of course, on the soft compound tyres, and Moomin is saying that he's not competitive, but he's actually on the hard compound tyre. I don't think he's realised that everybody else ahead of him is on the softs or the mediums there, so that he will be coming back into this Grand Prix as he starts to phase in on those tyres as well then. So don't think it's all over just yet then, so nothing to complain about there. Just Kaidel then trying to get himself back into the range. He's now got himself ahead of Sicker's Muck then by over a second, and he's actually putting the pressure on Equaz now to try and get himself onto the podium places. Is the McLaren driver looking good indeed in the McLaren then, after switching from the Haas car and trying to put the pressure on at the the top 3 really, because Equaz and Ginner then are a bit too far behind Lucas Percy as it stands there for Kaidel to try and go for the lead of the Grand Prix. 5.5 seconds is the gap then for Lucas Percy, who is out in control on the soft compound tyres as it stands, and trying to get himself as far away as possible then before having to make his pit stop, or earlier pit stop than we expect for the soft compound tyres. Kaidel now into this battle then for the podium places. Equaz can't get the move there. Liam's got himself past X-Gamer, has he? Or switch back there from Gamer. Can Gamer get the traction now on the soft compound tyres, the old soft compound tyres of course, to get himself back up into oh dear, there's almost a bit of contact there. I think Liam trying to put the squeeze on the Williams driver for that turn 2, but he's got himself through there, back up into P7 now is Liam and trying to chase down Gordo once again. Then the battle resumes then between Liam and Gordo, but Gordo did a fantastic job of holding off the pressure then from the Alfa Romeo driver before. Can he hold on to that as well then, as the softs I think for X-Gamer just starting to drop off here as we get into the sort of first quarter of this race, the first phase of this race, or completing the first phase of the Grand Prix I should say, but there we are then, 6 seconds now the gap then to the race leader. Jenner is doing a good job there in P2. He's holding off Equaz at the moment there, and the pace is still quite strong then from the Mercedes driver. New Zealand Cam and Gamer. New Zealand, what's happened to Gamer? Gamer's off the circuit then at the beginning of sector 3, then he's lost 2 places then, he's lost 3 places actually then to New Zealand Cam there, Vessia and Farth then. Gamer has dropped down to P11 as it stands there. Those soft compound tyres I think struggling away then on the Williams car. And I think we might see some stops, though he's not coming in just yet then. I think we might see some stops then very shortly for those on the soft compound tyres, because they really are having a few issues out there. I think they're starting to lose places then overall, and we're starting to drop off then in terms of performance I think as well, compared to those on the mediums and the hards as well then. So it's not looking too good there for the soft runners as it stands then. They're struggling out there, but they will see what they can do then, I'm sure, to get to the optimum pit window then before they have to get themselves off those soft compound with something else. Of course, if it's a dry race or completely dry race throughout the whole 70 laps, then they have to use at least 2 different types of dry compound, that being either the soft, the medium, and the hard as well. So they can choose between which one they want to go on to, but they have to use at least 2 different ones out of those 3. But we don't have the super hard or the ultra soft or anything like that anymore, unfortunately. Yellow flags down in the background, yellow flags for Reflection at the final corner, and Reflection really struggling out there. He's not having a great time and trying to get the car corrected. Then he's got himself back underway, but unfortunately for Reflection, they're not quite sure what is going on there for the Aston Martin driver. He's really struggling out there. Here comes Hungry Styles then trying to get himself back into the fight then, and of course has made his extra stop as well, or made an unscheduled stop I suppose you could say, but he has changed the front wing and gone into a set of fresh hard compound tyres as well. So we'll see what the Red Bull can do. Can he get himself back in this Grand Prix? And like he was saying, he was using this Hungarian Grand Prix as a bit of practice then for the next few races then, next race then for the bronze division, which of course he is part of as well. New Zealand Canada into the box then. He'd called it a day on the soft compound tyres. The first, I think, scheduled stop then for this Grand Prix as well. Favre's got himself past Vessia further up the order there into turn 1. And Vessia then is trying to fight back there, but Gamer is also back into the top 10 now with New Zealand Cam's pit stop. Onto a set of medium compound tyres goes New Zealand Cam, and that is interesting stuff indeed. We'll have to see how it all plays out then for the AlphaTauri driver, who is going to be in position for a good next stint as well. Then we'll have to wait and see how it's going to unfold, who's going to be on the right strategy and the best strategy, of course, as well. Then out just behind Vintage and Moomin Ninja. Then he's not going to be very pleased with that, I don't think. New Zealand Cam, he wants to get himself a bit of clean air then, doesn't he, on those fresh tyres then, to try and punch in the lap times. And now going to go side by side with Vintage there into turn 4. That is dangerous stuff indeed there. Like I was saying earlier, not where you want to overtake really. Favre picked up another penalty, unfortunately for Favre there in P8 as it stands there, trying to catch up to Liam Yeh now, as the gap there has formed between Favre and Liam Yeh after the pit stop then for New Zealand Cam. And of course the battling there between Favre and Vessia as well. Then 3.4 seconds is the gap there between the Haas and the Alfa Romeo. Then Vessia going to be looking to come into. He is coming in the pit lane there as Vessia has called it a day then on the soft compound tyres. Gamer carries on though. He's struggling on there on the soft compound tyres. Blimey, they look like it seems like I think it's time to get off those tyres as well. It seems based on the traction that we've seen on the softs for the last few laps or so. But into the pits comes Vessia then onto a set of medium compound tyres. It looks like the same for Kamara Racer as well. Into the box goes the Haas driver, and that is him done and dusted. Then in the car, on the soft I should say, and into the box then he goes. Then Vessia coming out the pit lane as well. We'll have to wait and see where he comes out in terms of the rest of the order. Then he's coming out the box now. He's going to be behind Vintage, behind Moomin, and behind New Zealand Cam, who of course made the undercut then and pit 1 lap earlier than the Alpine driver, and got himself out ahead there. Kamara Racer has gone back on the soft compound tyres, it looks like, so he's going to do a double soft strategy then, it looks like, for the Haas driver. He will of course have to pit at some point in the race then for a different set of compounds, a medium or a hard set, to get to the end of the Grand Prix. But it looks like a 2-stop strategy then is the optimum strategy then for the time being. But we'll see how it all plays out. Who's going to be on the best strategy is the question. Reflection has been passed then by Hungry Styles. Then Styles of course on the fresher hard compound tyres after making his stop, and for a front wing change as well. Then he's got himself back up into P19 then, and now trying to chase down the pack ahead of him as well to be fair, on the fresher tyres then for Vessia and for Kamara Racer. But there's a lot of drivers yet to pit there for ahead of Hungry Styles and from Reflection as well. So there's still some positions to be gained as well for Hungry Styles, I think, in this Grand Prix. There's contact there between Kaidel and Equaz as well then into turn 1, and I think that could be opening the door now for Jinner. Jinner hold on to the place there into turn 2. We go then round the outside goes Equaz there trying to hold the position, but Jinner there covers it off very nicely indeed. New Zealand Cam has set the fastest out of the race then, of course, with his pit stop phase already completed then, in the opening phase that is. And Vessia now up into P15 ahead now of Vintage as well. Then into P15 he goes there. He's got Moving Ninja right ahead of him now as well, trying to chase him down for that next position as well. Then as up in the order then, we've got quite a good battle going on here between Liam Yeh. Favre's lost out 4 seconds now to the top 7. He's really struggling to try and hold on now. I think Gamer's going to be struggling on those soft compound tyres as well, as we've got only 2 drivers left on the original starters then of the soft compound, and that is Gamer in P9 and Lucas Percy, the race leader, the pole sitter, in P1. Then here comes Vessia on the back of Moomin, then he can't quite make a move then into the chicane. It's not a very easy overtaking position, put it that that way. But Vessia now having to sit behind the McLaren for the time being there and hold on to that position as well as we go through into the end of Sector 2, then the beginning of Sector 3. Can Vessia try and make a move? Then he needs to make a move quickly to try and get himself through then on those fresher tyres as well. He's going to line up a move now, I think, as Moomin tries to cover off the move there, but down the inside goes the Alpine into P14, and he's got the position, he's got the move, and he's up into P14. Very nicely done indeed. Then up in the order, Gina and Equaz switching places as well. Then into turn 1 there. Here comes Equaz now on the back of the Mercedes once again. Then into turn 2 then, not quite being able to get himself through. I don't think he has to bide his time again. Then he's been really frustrated, I think, there by Gina then, who's doing a great job of holding on to the place, holding on to P2 for the time being as well then. And so far so good then for Gina. He's into these podium places, and he wants to hold on to that P2 of course, and get his best result then of the season if he can hold on to it as well. X-Gamer is down in P9. I keep getting X-Gamer and Equaz confused, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But Equaz is staging in P3, Kaidel in P4. Now Sick as Muck and Gordo have caught up as well. Same for Liam. Yeah, 4 seconds back to Farf then in P8. As it stands, then it is they're starting to eke out a bit of a gap then between the field. Then there's a few more gaps appearing then throughout the field as well then. But of course it is 100% distance, so it's a long race there, and it can of course change and flick in different orders and different ways of course throughout the Grand Prix. As there's a pit stop there for Sick as Muck then. He's called it a day then on the medium compound tyres, and that's a very early stop then for the mediums as well. Vessia has got a penalty for a track limits there. Vessia has come out the pit lane. He's down into P14 there, trying to get himself through Sector 2. Then into the pits comes Sick as Muck then. What's he going to go on to? Because he's going to have to change on to something. No, he's not changing on to something different. He's changing on to another set of medium compound tyres then. So that will take him to around lap 40 if he can hold on to those tyres then. Similarly to his first stint as well then. Moomin Ninja is in the pit lane as well. He's into the box then for the first time for the McLaren. Then Sick as Muck coming out behind Vessia. He's going to be close indeed, but I think where's Vessia gone? He's gone off the circuit. There's Vessia. No, but Vessia then on the extra grip, the extra pace then on the fresher and the warmed up medium compound tyres. He's got them inside now for turn 2, and he's got the position I think as well then into turn 3 and up into P13 there. Vessia has actually done an undercut there on Sick as Muck then. 3 lap old tyres compared to 0 lap old tyres of course, with Sick as Muck just come out the pit lane. But Sick as Muck there with the Vessia with the extra few laps then on those fresh medium compound tyres has been able to get the undercut then on Sick as Muck, and that could promote him into the range of a podium place actually as it stands, because we saw Sick as Muck there in P5 at the time. Then it was right behind Kaidel with the extra pace then on those fresh medium compound tyres. The undercut is working in the favour of those who are choosing to opt for the undercut, that is. And into the pits comes the race leader of Lucas Percy then onto a set of medium compound tyres. Then coming out the box then now Gino is also in the pits then calling it there on the medium compound tyres. Then he's onto a set of mediums once again as well. So medium there for Gino. Then Lucas Percy going from soft to mediums as well. Moomin Ninja has picked up a 3-second penalty. Unfortunately, we will start to see the penalties roll in, I think, here, because it is a very treacherous circuit then, and easy to get the penalties racked up as well here. Lucas Percy coming out in P9 there, a bit of clean air there before he gets to Coupe and the rest of the pack ahead. Serious Mushroom now up into P11 there, but unfortunately has yet to make a stop then. So Vessia, like I was saying then, Vessia could get himself in the ranges of a podium, a net podium place here with the undercut as well. Sick as Muck then is still on the cards then, of course, chasing down that Alpine as well for that place. But I think it could be between the two of them. They're actually getting themselves on both of them on the podium as well, because with the the early stop then compared to Gamer, compared to Liam, yeah, compared to Farf, compared to Kaidel, compared to Gordo, and potentially compared to Equaz as well, then we could see that the undercut working out in their favour as Moomin Ninja has crashed off the circuit then, and that is a safety car, and unfortunately those who have stopped then will have to get their information sorted, because they'll have to make another stop. Then those who have not stopped will potentially be able to get a nice jump there on those who have already stopped as well in the opening few laps as well. This will jig up the order then quite literally, and there we go then. There's a safety car then for the first safety car then of the evening on lap 20 of 70, and there we go then. Into the pits comes Gamer as well. Then all the top drivers are coming in the pit lane. Lucas Percy stays out then. I think he'll be able to take back the lead of the Grand Prix as well, then he will do. Equaz onto a set of hard compound tyres, and New Zealand Cam carries on as well. He's on the 6-lap-old medium compound tyres and has now got himself a 1-2 for the AlphaTauri team as it stands as well. Then looking good indeed. Then Equaz coming out the pit lane in P3, Kaidel in P4, then in Gordo in P5. Vessia then has got himself back up into P6, so is Sickersmuck P7, but unfortunately they have lost a couple of places then after the stop before the safety car was called out then. So I think they'll be investigated after the Grand Prix. That will, of course, just to make sure that there's no shenanigans going on there as well. Vintage is down into P15 after coming out of the box. Then Kamara Race was back in the pit lane after going on to soft then in the first stage of the Grand Prix. He's now into a set of medium compound tyres then in P16. Martin has followed him in as well. Hungary Styles is coming through to finish off this lap 2, and they will all come into the box. I think there's a Reflection staying out then, so I think Reflection there very wise indeed is a Reflection, because of course he has to catch up to the pack first. He has to catch up to the safety car queue first, but then he can make a pit stop and have fresher tyres compared to those who have already made their stop just now. So have only a lap or two fresher tyres, but that could be the difference towards the end of the Grand Prix there. So Reflection there, very smart indeed, I think, just carrying on at this stage, and will make a pit stop in the next few laps, or next couple of laps or so, once he's caught up to the safety car queue. So very well thought out there for Reflection. And we'll see how it's going to unfold now for the rest of the order then. Now down to 19 drivers then, after the McLaren of Movement is out of the Grand Prix after having a crash, it looks like, at the exit of turn 1, all on his own as well. There was nobody around him there to influence that one, I think, but there we go. So Reflection now carrying on then. We'll have to wait and see who is going to, is anybody else going to make a move there into the box then. Vessia staying out as well there. He's done 5 laps on the medium compound tyres, but like I said, at this stage of the Grand Prix, it won't be too much of a difference, I don't think, between the tyre wear between the fresh tyres now, who of those who pitted under the safety car, and the 5-lap, 6-lap-old tyres that Vessia and New Zealand Cam have got on their automobiles as it stands at the moment. Then, right, good stuff indeed. So we're waiting for the rest of the drivers to catch up to the safety car queue. Then Reflection, like I was saying, there is into the box now to call it a day then on the hard compound tyres. He's on the oldest tyres as it stands there in the order. Of course, a lot of drivers ahead of him have made a pit stop, or have made 2 pit stops actually in some cases, for the unscheduled stop then before the safety car, and then the safety car pit stop as well. Then Reflection onto the set of medium compound tyres, and I think he will come out in P19 then. But hopefully the safety car will be in very shortly, and we can get ourselves back underway then for some green flag racing. And this is going to be good news then for everybody who's chasing down Lucas Percy then, because he's now within range there after setting having an 8-second gap. Then he is now down. It's now down to only a few tenths of a second then. But of course he is on a fresh set of medium compound tyres after making the stop under the safety car. So that will help him out then in the long term. Of course, their Reflection coming through there to try and catch up to the back of the safety car train, and we can get ourselves back underway. And I think it might be another late. It won't be a late call. I don't think it'll be in this lap, unfortunately. So we'll have to have another lap round at this circuit. Then waiting for Reflection just to catch up to the back of the safety car queue. And bear with us 1 second whilst we get everybody ready to get racing once again. Then I think hopefully not going to be that late of a call then, as Reflection just coming through to start off sector 3 then. But there we go then. A safety car is coming in this lap then. Blimey, it is going to be a late call indeed then. And safety car, Bert Mylander just getting himself into the pit lane now. Thankfully there was enough time for the rest of the pack to react, I think, there. But Reflection has caught up there very late indeed. Then the safety car has come in very late as well then. But we are going to be green flag running then at the end of this lap. Then here comes Lucas Percy then to start us on our way once again then, as we cross the line to start off lap 23 of 70 as well. Now down the main straight once again then. No moves at the front of the order, it looks like, as everyone seems to be just slotting themselves into play there. Jinner and Liam Yeh, Sickersmuck and Liam Yeh are switching places. There's contact with Sickersmuck then, and off the circuit goes Liam Yeh and the Aston Martin, and blimey, both those drivers that Jinner has lost out as well then. I'm not quite sure what has gone there on that restart then for Sickersmuck then. He seemed to just make contact there. Hungry Styles is off the circuit as well then. What's happened to Hungry Styles then in the start of this restart, I should say. Liam Yeh is back underway then. No damage then for the Alfa Romeo then, but I think he's going to be very angry indeed there with what happened with Sickersmuck and the Sickersmuck, and potentially I think Jinner was involved in that as well. I'm not quite sure, but they've come off worse at this stage of the Grand Prix. Hopefully they can get themselves back underway, then back under with the calm heads, I suppose you could say there. I've not got a calm head. I'm struggling to get my words out, but hopefully they can get themselves sorted. That's what I'm trying to say. But there we go. Then contact then into turn 1 then, and it looks like I'm not quite sure where Jinner was because I didn't see what was happening there for Jinner, but he lost out a lot of places as well. Then did Jinner on the restart, and then I think it was Liam and Sick as Muck then who came together then at the exit of turn 1 I should say, and that has cost them both as well. Then Reflection has been passed then by Jinner. Has contact again then, and Jinner is off the circuit once again as well now, and it's not going too well out there for the Mercedes driver. He's got himself back underway and get himself back into the pit lane now. I think there might be some wing damage there to try and sort out then. Martin and Sick as Muck then into the fight once again as well. Sick as Muck trying to get himself back in this Grand Prix after whatever happened there at turn 1, and now he's got himself back up into P14. Jinner is back in the pit lane, then he's called it a day older on the medium compound tyres. I think there might be a wing change there for the Mercedes driver. There is a wing change as well there, and he's on to a set of hard compounds then to get himself back in this Grand Prix as well now. As there we are then, that is what's going on so far. The restart was a bit chaotic down the back of the field then, but so far so good then for the top drivers. The top 7 or 8 have all got themselves back underway then. R2P has got himself into the top 9 I suppose you could say as well, and now trying to chase down Gamer then for some more points as well. Both Williams there into the top 10, so looking strong at the moment as well indeed. Like I was saying, the safety car would have played a bit more havoc with the strategies as well there through this Grand Prix. Of course, a lot of drivers then will have their 100% race structured in a certain way they wanted to go then, but of course the safety cars do play havoc then with the strategies, as we've seen in real life. And as it stands, that is what's happened here as well. Then, of course, it's never easy to predict a safety car because usually you can't. Lucas Percy sets the fastest lap of the race. Then on lap 25, then he's already storming off in the distance. Then 2.4 seconds now is the gap there between himself and his teammate New Zealand Cam. Here comes Equaz. They're down into turn 1. They're not making any moves just yet. Gordo is back up into P4 after a very quiet but very great first 25 laps. Then from Gordo, good stuff indeed. Reflection, and Martin is switching places there into turn 1, and Reflection trying to go around the outside then of the Ferrari driver then into turn 1. He's got the move done. I think he's got the inside now for turn 2 and trying to hold on to that place as well then as we go down the hill then. Of course, before we go up the hill there before turn 4, as into P15 goes the Aston Martin, and he's trying to chase down his teammate now with Sick as Muck then in the back of the field. And as it stands there, Liam has caught up to the back of the field already. Good news for Liam that hopefully he can get himself back through the order. Jinner has got a 34-second gap there to the back of the field, but of course he's had that extra stop then and a wing change. But of course he can go longer in this stint now and try and get himself back in this Grand Prix. Hopefully we'll see what he can do then. 3 seconds now the gap to the leaders there between the two AlphaTauris. The gap is now 3 seconds there. Equaz trying to get himself back into the fray into P2 I should say. Then he's got another Mercedes now to battle with of Gordo. Gordo of course is of course the championship leader as it stands there. A very quiet and consistent driver then, and a very good driver for 100% racing that is as well, because he needs to try and he just needs to keep it calm, keep it clean, and he has done that very well in the first 2 rounds there, and looking good so far in round 3. Here comes Equaz I should say then on the back of the AlphaTauri of New Zealand Cam there, trying to go for the switchback is the AlphaTauri then, and he's got the switchback indeed. He's got the position back as well indeed, but I think Equaz there that's a fantastic move indeed actually from the AlphaTauri. He's got himself a great move, a great switchback indeed as well. Here comes Gordo trying to hold it around the outside now of Equaz there into turn 3. We go side by side. There's contact between the two cars, and Equaz there has lost out then to the Mercedes of Gordo. Up into P3 goes the Mercedes there into the podium places there off the circuit though, and that I think might be a warning there from the in-game race control. But there we go then up into P3 there after a bit of contact through turn 3. It's very difficult to go side by side through there because it's a very cambered corner, isn't it? Trying to get yourself through at the pace there that you need to try and hold, to try and get yourself the momentum as well up the hill towards turn 4 as well. And unfortunately for Equaz that is, he has lost out then to the Mercedes driver there, but of course he's on the hard compound tyres, so they will phase in a lot later on in this in this next stint I should say, compared to those on the mediums who have already got themselves up to temperature, up to speed as well I believe, I would expect. So there we go then, nobody on the softs this time now, so they've all decided to get themselves off the soft compound tyres and go on to a set of hards or a set of mediums now. Everyone's ditched the softs there. I don't think they were a great race tyre then, or they weren't the favourable race tyre then for for the opening stages of this Grand Prix. Then into turn 1 we go then, and Gordo then is still in behind the AlphaTauri of New Zealand Cam there. He's been a bit of a roadblock there as New Zealand Cam then at the moment. They're trying to hold off the rest of the pack then from his challengers there. Oh, as I thought he was going to dive down the inside there was Gordo, but he's thankfully taking his nose out of that one, because I think that was going to be going very dangerous indeed. Farf and Vessia switching places as well then into up to turn 4. Then here we go, then Vessia is on the outside then, and Farf has got himself through then up into P6 now as well as Farf. Vessia then slotting into P7. Oh, he's gone over the curve there on the inside. That is not where you want to go then. That is very treacherous indeed. There's another Alpine have got R2 Beat trying to get himself through past Gamer as well. Then they're all bunched up here now with that move there on Vessia then into turn 4 has really slowed down the pack behind as well, and that is going to be bunching them all up, catching them all out. And there we go then. Serious Mushrooms got himself into the top 10 then here with a great race so far then. Into the top 10 there for Serious Mushroom. They're good stuff indeed. And now on to, of course, on the strategy that he was on. He wasn't looking too good there at the start of this Grand Prix, but now onto a set of medium compound tyres, and now onto the same sort of tyre life as the rest of the grid around him as well. Can try and hold on to the points paying positions as well here in the Ferrari. Good stuff indeed then. Around the final corner we go then. R2B then is no, it's not. It's Gamer putting the pressure on Vessia now as we go down straight then towards turn 1. Once again then Vessia has lost out then to the Williams of X Gamer, then up into P7 there for the Williams driver, and now trying to chase down Favre. Now Favre has lost out then to the DRS range of the top 5 there. This is going to be costly indeed for Favre then in the Haas. Then he needs to try and get himself back in that 1 second window to try and get himself promoted back up the order. Then Vintage trying to chase down the top 11 as it stands as well. 2 seconds is the gap there between the Red Bull and the Williams of Coupe in P11 there. Coupe just holding on to the top 10 for the time being, but I think we've seen from Coupe before in previous races that this is quite where he wants to be fair, because he can make up the moves at the latter point of the Grand Prix, and it will work out in his favour, we expect anyway. 4.7 seconds is the gap now to Lucas Percy there for New Zealand Cam. There out in front once again there is Lucas Percy, even on the medium compound tyres. He is trying to set the gap once again there back up into 8 seconds, back into even more I would expect then in this stint as well as he goes longer in the Grand Prix. And there we go then. So right in we go there. 5 seconds now the gap. Then Gordo is trying to put the pressure on New Zealand Cam. Then into the final turn we go. Then once again they're onto lap 28 of 70. We're not even at halfway distance just yet. Then we've got another few laps to go here. Gordo then is trying to put the pressure on. Here he comes with DRS there. DRS enabled. Then can he make a late move there into turn 1? New Zealand Cam almost moves under the braking there almost to try and get himself keep that position, I should say. I think it was just before the braking zone as well. Then R2 Beat and Vessia have switched places. Then there's a bit of team orders then down in the Alpine team. And up into P8 goes R2 Beat then ahead of his teammate now as well, then trying to chase down X Gamer then in the Williams now for some more points as well. Then good stuff indeed. Then it's all playing out nicely then for the Alpines. And here we go then. Gordo and Gordo and Gamer, sorry, I should say, are Gordo and New Zealand Cam, I should say, are still involved in their battle here as well as we go through the chicane once again then of Sector 2. And we can try and get ourselves some more moves there, but they're still losing time. A hand over fist there, of course. New Zealand Cam did pit earlier then before the safety car, and he decided to stay out then as well before the safety car. So he's not made a pit stop under the yellow flags. He's made a pit stop on the green flag, that is. So he's got much older tyres than those around him as it stands then. So they will start to drop off earlier than those around him as well, then that will mean, and he will potentially make a pit stop earlier than those around him as well. But here we go then. Here comes Gordo, and Gordo's a lot closer this time around the final corner. And let's see what Gordo can do there. Can he get himself on the power? Can he get himself the DRS? Can he get himself past the AlphaTauri then for P2? As we go on to the main straight once again, then there's he's not gaining enough then, is Gordo then to try and make a move then into turn 1. He's gone for a late move though as Gordo then. That is a very late and ambitious move indeed as well there. And thankfully New Zealand Cam, I think, saw it coming, unlike we saw on the previous lap there from somebody else. As we go round turn 2 now, down the inside goes Gordo, then trying to hold it round the AlphaTauri, round the outside of the AlphaTauri, I could say. Side by side still as we go up the hill then towards turn 4. I think one of them's going to have to back out then, and I think Gordo didn't back out at all then, and Gordo then is off the circuit. Then he's lost out massively indeed as well. Where's he going to come on to the circuit? That is the question. He's down in P7 there, trying to get himself out back underway then, but Gordo then didn't want to back out at all then, did he? So he's got himself got nerfed onto the grass then and I think that cost him a few positions as well. It has cost him a few positions there. He was battling for P2. He's down to P7 now, unfortunately, for the Mercedes driver. They're trying to get himself back underway. Yeah, big move indeed there. That would have been very risky. Well, it was going to be risky indeed, and it was costly indeed as well for Gordo, as we've seen Gamer get himself past Farf, I think, there, into P5 now as well, then, with Gordo's shenanigans, I should say. And there we go then. Kaidel is trying to get himself back up into the podium places then after the opening few laps, then after the safety car. And now here we go then. Equaz is next to try and line up a move then on New Zealand Cam, then this time for P2. And down the inside he goes then, as he's got the move there on the AlphaTauri. But once again, the switchback is on then for the AlphaTauri, and New Zealand Cam holds on to P2 with Equaz going too deep then into turn 1. It's just opening the door then for New Zealand Cam to just go back up and under and keep that position then, and he has done once again then. That's the second time it's happened then for the AlphaTauri driver. So we go up the hill once again as well, side by side this time, and this time Equaz is ahead of the AlphaTauri before we get to the apex of turn 4. And now he is ahead there up into P2 there. Once again, it's a now 8.5 second gap again for Lucas Percy then to P2. But Equaz now is on a better set of hard compound tyres then. And of course, we'll be going longer in this stint as well. Then those medium compound tyres for Lucas Percy will drop off before Equaz's tyres on the hards as well. So it is not all done and dusted just yet then, as we go through into Sector 3 then for the 31st time now, as there's a lot of action still to unfold then. It's been an intense Grand Prix. Look how close everybody has been. It's 31 laps. So of course there was a safety car, but it was close before the safety car even as well, and it's been closer still then since the safety car, which is great stuff to see. Some epic Grand Prix racing then from all the drivers then who are still putting on the show here in Hungary. And Kamara Racer is trying to get himself back through as well. Sorry, that's Farf then. Farf trying to get himself back through there on Gamer then, but he's harvesting some ERS there. The red light flashing on the back of that Haas car. New Zealand Cam and Kaidel now switching places there into P3. Goes New Zealand Cam. Goes Kaidel, I should say. Can he hold on to the move there? And Kaidel has got himself up into the podium places now in the McLaren. Great stuff indeed then. Gamer is now the next driver to try and challenge New Zealand Cam, as the AlphaTauri also harvesting energy there into turn 4. And off the circuit he goes as well then. That is very dangerous stuff indeed then, because that is enticing the Williams driver to try and make a move, but he can't quite make a move there into turn 4 and 5. And now into the chicane as well. Not a very opportune overtaking move, put it that way. But he has got himself some to bide his time there to try and make a move later on in the race as well. But now in front there, the hard compound runners there of Equaz and of Kaidel are trying to stretch their legs there. The New Zealand Cam on the medium compound tyres is holding up the rest of the pack now as well, and they've lost out in DRS range there to the 2 and the hard compound tyres ahead of them now as well. Coop is a 3-second penalty, unfortunately. Coop there, he's down in P10 there. He's into the points pen positions now as well. But unfortunately, he has got himself a 3-second penalty that will be added onto his race time at the end of the Grand Prix. New Zealand Cam coming into the box, and he called it a day then on the medium compound tyres already. He's done 18 laps there on the medium compound tyres. He's halfway through the Grand Prix. Can he go onto a set of hard compound tyres to the end of the race then? Vessia is also in the pit lane as well. Then he called it a day on the same tyre life then as we had on the AlphaTauri. Of course, Vessia and New Zealand Cam both made pit stops before the safety car and stayed out when the safety car did come out as well. Then, so they're going to be a little bit ahead of the rest of the curve then compared to those, I should say, who have of course stopped under the safety car a few laps later than them. But out of the pit lane comes New Zealand Cam now, as well as Vessia, P17 and P18 respectively, and trying to get themselves back on the pace then onto a set of medium compound tyres each as well. Then 9.4 seconds is the gap there between Lucas Percy and Equaz there. Kaidel is back in within DRS range now of the Alfa Romeo in P2, and Gamer's got himself up into P4 now with the stops then for New Zealand Cam and for Vessia as well. Then up into P4 now goes the Williams driver, and trying to chase down the 2 ahead of him there to get himself back into the 1 second DRS window as well. Farf is in P5. Gordo has got himself back up into P6 as well now after that difficulty into turn 4. and he is getting himself back underway then in the Mercedes, I should say, then trying to keep his keep it calm, keep it consistent as well. What we've seen from Gordo in the first 2 races, even if there is incidents similar to the one he had at turn 4 as well, he just gets on with it. Then he keeps his head down and keeps on racing to get to the finish line, and that is what the that is the prize really from Gordo. Then he's absolutely fantastic, is Gordo, for plugging away and keeping on going there. He's a great top talent indeed, and that's the sort of drivers we want in ALR, of course. And he is definitely one of the rising stars, one of the shining stars, I could say, as well, after putting in week after week then in silver, and of course in the 100% league as well now as well. Great stuff indeed. Then Favre's picked up another penalty. There's a lot of penalties rolling in for Favre, and I think he's on 9 seconds already, isn't he? 9 seconds there for Favre. Then Liam Yeh picks up a penalty as well. Then down in P14, unfortunately for Liam Yeh, trying to get himself past Kamara Racer. Then 3 seconds for Coop, 3 seconds for Liam, 3 seconds for Martin, and 3 for Vessia is the current penalty situation. Then for those who have picked them up so far. There might be more penalties to come as we get ourselves through this Grand Prix, and there we go. Then we've got, like I said, the halfway point almost, as Lucas Percy is about to start lap 35 of 70. Then we're almost at the halfway point here as we go round the penultimate corner. Then for Favre, then trying to hold on to the DRS range of X Gamer, but I think Gamer there is put on the burners now, hasn't he? He's got himself into the range now of the top 2, of P2 and P3. Into the box comes Favre, and he's called it a day. Then he's on 14 lap old medium compound tyres, but he is done and dusted with those tyres already. I think they're maybe going for an undercut here onto a new set of boots then, and trying to get himself into the range there of the podium places there into the pits. He goes onto the soft compound tyres, and where's he going to come out in respect to New Zealand Cam? Then he's going to be behind New Zealand Cam. Is he going to be ahead of Vessia? Then it's going to be close indeed there. Can he get himself on the power quickly enough? And he can do. He's ahead of Vessia now. And back out of the pit lane there for Favre, and away he goes now, and he's got himself in P17 there. He's got himself in between Vessia and New Zealand Cam, who were of course in the fight for the podium places and for the big points here in the Grand Prix in the first 2 stints then, and so that is not too shabby then from Favre. Then on the soft compound tyres as well, he's going to be very quick indeed, and trying to get himself back into the range then of the points pair positions as well. Good stuff. And there we are then. Here comes Equaz now 10 seconds behind Lucas Percy. Lucas Percy setting the precedent there so far, still on the medium compound tyres there. The hards not, I don't think the hards at this stage will be just as good as the mediums just yet. Potentially they will be they'll be going for 25, maybe 30 laps or so, but the medium compound tyres, we've seen already that some people are calling it a day after only 15 laps or so on the medium compound tyres, so within the range that Lucas Percy has already reached there on those tyres, but we'll have to wait and see which one is going to be the preferential strategy, which preferential tyre then in the next few laps or so. With Favre's pit stop, Gordo has now lost out to X Gamer by 2 seconds now, which is bad news indeed, because now R2 Beat then is all over the back of him here. So is Serious Mushroom as well. Serious Mushroom there doing a great job then in the Ferrari, then up into P7 now with the stops then for the other drivers as well. But of course with the safety car really helping him out, I think as well. Reflection there, like I was saying, having a difficult start to the Grand Prix now, is back up into the top 10 now, so he's looking good indeed. There is Reflection after that difficult start there on the hard compound tyres. He was almost 4 seconds off the back of the field then at one point in P20. The safety car has brought him back in there, and now on the medium compound tyres he is up into P10 there with a fantastic recovery in this Grand Prix so far. Of course we're only halfway through, but he is looking good indeed. There is Reflection there, both the Aston Martins I should say, into the top 10. Of course Sick as Muck there is on slightly older tyres at this stage as well then, but Vintage there is also sniffing around that top 10 position as well. Liam Yeh 2 seconds back there, trying to get himself back into the fight as he's got himself ahead of Kamara Racer now as well, to try and fight for some points there. Hungry Styles there is chugging on as well. New Zealand Cam of course has made an extra stop, then he stopped after the safety car. He is the first driver to stop after the safety car as well. Sick as Muck is calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres into the pits as well. Kaidel is making a move then for P2 as he's gone down the inside at turn 1 there. Has he made the move? Then he has, I think. We can't quite tell. Well, there's X Gamer, there's Equaz there, sorry, and he's got the move. Yeah, he has got the move there, has Kaidel just ahead. Favre sets the fastest lap of the race, then he's going to be jumping ahead there of Sick as Muck, who's just coming to the pit lane for a set of soft compound tyres as well, but he will be going very quickly indeed then with the Aston Martin there in the next phase of the Grand Prix, but there we go then. Equaz there is down into P3 there, being passed by Kaidel, and Kaidel is doing a great job then, fighting on for the podium places as it stands there into P2. Equaz will have something to say about that, so will Gamer as well then. Gamer will want to get himself onto the podium places in the next few corners or so as well. R2B has got himself past Gordon now, but that gap's still 2.3 seconds or so to the top 4, and that is of course is where that gap with Fafaf was, where that gap with Vessier and New Zealand Cam was as well then, before the pit stops then for those 3 drivers as well. So like I said, that's what has opened the gap then to 2 seconds there between the top 5, well, between R2B in P5 and the top 4. But can he get that gap down there to help himself in the latter stages of the Grand Prix as well? Lap 38 of 70 there. We're almost there. Where are we? We're over halfway, but we're not anywhere near. But hopefully we can get ourselves through. My voice is starting to struggle, if you couldn't tell. That is why I'm looking interested in how many laps we've completed. Martin and Favre battling away then through the penultimate corner then, or through the final corner I should say there. Favre now ahead of the Ferrari I should say, as New Zealand Cam passes Hungary Styles into P13 into turn 1. And now ahead of the Red Bull driver then into turn 1 we go. Martin is trying to put the pressure on. Vessier is also in this battle as well. Now Martin has done 17 laps there on those hard compound tyres. And here comes, Vessier then is trying to stick his nose down the inside there. That was very close indeed. And Martin was very aware then of the Alpine, which is lucky indeed, because he could have closed the door then on Vessier's nose then. And that would have been a very impactful incident, I suppose you could say. But thankfully Vessier there, or thankfully from Vessier's point of view, Martin was very much tuned into what was going on around him, which is good news indeed, and very well played from Martin as well there to keep it safe and secure. Equaz there has lost out to DRS range of Kaidel. Kaidel was really flying then on these hard compound tyres. New Zealand Cam and Kamara Racer switching places there. Of course, Kamara Racer is on much older tyres than New Zealand Cam there. Into sector 3 we go then, and the AlphaTauri driver now up into P12 there ahead of the Haas into P13, and we can see how it's going to unfold then in terms of this strategy then for New Zealand Cam. Then he's going to have to make another stop, I would believe, but when that will be, it will probably be in about 10-15 laps time or so. Equaz has now been passed then by Gamer, who's now onto the podium places there in the Williams there, looking good indeed there. It's starting to phase in now for the Williams driver, as Cooper's got himself past Reflection now as well, then up into P8 there for the Williams driver as well. So both the Williams drivers making moves in this opening part of lap 39, and up into P3 and P8 respectively as well. Then into the pits. No, it's not into the pits. Then Hungry Styles and Kamara. What's happened to Hungry Styles? Then Hungry Styles is off the circuit then, and he's ghosted there, I think, and that has allowed Kamara Racer and Vessier to come through. And I'm not quite sure what happened to Hungry Styles. Then he seems to have all of the front wing intact, I think. Yes, he does then. So he's unfortunately just had an issue there, and that has allowed both the Haas of Kamara Racer and Vessier to come through into P14 and 15 respectively as well. Reflection, like I said, has lost out to Coop then, but he's still doing a good job there in the top 9 and holding on at this stage as well. Vintage is into the top 10 as well. Great stuff from Vintage, and can he get himself in the DRS range? Gino picked up a 3-second penalty for his troubles as well into turn 4 and 5 then, and hopefully he can soldier on in this Grand Prix, hope for another safety car potentially as well, and that will of course help him out then. Kamara Racer has been passed by Vessier then, as Sick as Milk picks up a 3-second penalty. There's a yellow flag in the background. There's a yellow flag. It's for Vintage. No, it's not. What's happened? I'm not sure. Okay, there we go then. Very, very odd that. Reflection coming back at Coop then into turn 1 there. He's back up into P8 now. Is the Aston Martin. Switch back from Coop though. Can he hold on to that place then? Can he keep the place into turn 2 then? Reflection's going to have the DRS and the inside into turn 2. And I think the Aston Martin has got the move there up into P8 then. Martin is struggling away then on those hard compound tyres then, and he's lost out to Sick as Muck now on the fresh soft compound tyres as well then, up into P17 there, trying to struggle back through I should say. Farf then has onto the soft compound tyres. They don't seem to be working in their favour then for the Haas and for the Aston Martin there just yet then. They seem to be struggling to catch up to those around on the medium compound tyres for now, but of course that could change, and we will find out. Vintage has lost out the top 10 then after that. After I was just praising him, must be a commentator's curse then, because he's lost out to New Zealand Cam and to Liam. Yeah, they're down to P12, unfortunately outside the top 10 now as well. Reflection picks up a 3-second penalty going wide in the entry to sector 3. Car number 84 then has picked up his first penalty of the evening then. Lap 41 of 70. We've got 30 laps to go then. We're well over halfway now, and we'll have to wait and see, is anybody going to come in the pit lane in the next few stages of these laps. And then here's where yellow flags again for Sick as Muck this time. Sick as Muck then is off the circuit at the entry to Sector 3. Then into the pits comes Serious Mushroom, and he's called it a day then on the medium compound tyres. 20 laps then for Serious Mushroom on the mediums, then onto a set of soft compound tyres. So that is interesting stuff indeed then. Will we see the soft go to the end of the Grand Prix? I don't think so. We'll have to wait and see. But Serious Mushroom then is calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres, and coming back out then onto a set of soft compound tyres. Sick as Muck has got himself back through after recovering then. I'm not quite sure what happened to Sick as Muck then in that race there. He was having a good race up until the safety car came out then, unfortunately. And I think there's a few drivers then who benefited from the safety car and a few drivers that have not, of course, and that is always the way with a safety car, really. But it happens that way in Formula 1 as well. But there we go. Unfortunately, like I said, the Sick as Muck, they're trying to get himself back in this race and back recovery then, as Favre's got himself past Liam there for P10 now, up into the top 10 for the Haas driver. And Liam is just battling on then. Those medium compound tyres, I think are coming towards the end of their life. We saw Serious Mushroom do 20 laps and pit for the soft compound just now, and I think a few more drivers might be coming into the pit lane very soon as well. Then Vessier picks up another penalty in the Alpine, unfortunately for Vessier. Then that is I think his second penalty then of the evening. Like I was saying, the tyres are not doing too well out there, I don't think, for some drivers. Then into the pits comes Reflection. There's a Reflection calling it a day then on the medium compound tyre, 20 laps as well for the Aston Martin. And he will be coming to the box then. Same for Liam. Liam calling it a day. Same as Hungary Styles then. So a lot of drivers then who, of course, pit under the safety car are now deciding that it's time to go onto a new set of tyres. And Hungary Styles has got a 5-second benefit for speeding in the pit lane. That is bad news indeed for the Red Bull driver, I should say. And that is going to cost him dearly indeed as well. Then in the latter stages, then onto the medium compound tyres for a Reflection. So I think Reflection could go to the end of the Grand Prix from here. It might be a bit of a tough ask, but he can definitely try there. Same for Hungary Styles. Hungary Styles is on 9-lap old medium, so he's not got any fresh tyres left, I don't think, with Styles. So unfortunately for Styles, then I think you might have to make him stop very soon as well. Vessier, has got himself past Vintage now, up into the top 10 after getting himself past the Red Bull driver now and trying to chase down Favre. Of course, those two did make their earlier stops then and have tried to go for the undercut then on the rest of the pack then, and they have got themselves back into the points pen positions, but might have to make another stop very soon. Coop and New Zealand Cam again switching places then into Sector 3 we go then, and ahead now goes the AlphaTauri driver on much fresher medium compound tyres. And I think we'll see Coop come into the box then. He is coming in the box then, so that is calling it a day there on the medium compound. Sick as Muck and Martin switching places there. Martin is off the circuit, I think there. He's lost out there on the old hard compound tyres. Cooper's in the box then to go onto a set of new soft compounds, I would imagine. We'll find out then in just a few moments, I should say, not minutes. Vessier then is coming, sorry, not Vessier, Coop is in the pit lane, so Vessier's got himself past there into P9 now. Coop is onto a set of hard compound tyres, so hards then for Coop then, I think, to the end of the Grand Prix, or it should be to the end of the Grand Prix, fingers crossed for Coop there, unless anything else goes wrong. But there we go, they're out in front of Liam now. Into P16 it looks like, so he's up into P16. Of course, Liam on the fresh soft compound tyres will be much quicker on those softs compared to Coop on those hard compound tyres, so we'll have to wait and see which strategy is going to be the best in which way it's going to play out then, as well as we get ourselves onto lap 43 then, soon to be lap 44 then, as Lucas Percy is 11 seconds ahead of Kydell and coming through the penultimate to the final corner of lap 43 as well. Right then, we've got a little bit of a breather now, which is nice. 26 laps to go here in this Grand Prix. There's still quite a few laps to go, but into the pits comes Gamer then from P3. Then he's was chasing down Kydell, but he's lost out now on those old medium compound tyres. I think to the hard runners, the pace there was losing more and more time then each lap then to those on the mediums compared to the hards. And into the pits comes Gamer then, calling it a day then on the medium compound tyres. 23 laps then for Gamer on those on those medium compound tyres. He's going to have to do 26 laps, I think, on those next set of mediums if he wants to get to the end of the Grand Prix on this stint then. So onto a new set of mediums then for Gamer. and back underway then, and back out ahead of Serious Mushroom and Sick as Muck then, who are battling away then. Liam, yes, that's the fastest lap of race. Reflection gets himself past Martin there for P14 down the inside at turn 1. Liam, yeah, getting himself back past Coop then. Fastest lap, of course, then for the Alfa Romeo driver then. And yellow flags for Martin. Martin's off the circuit then at turn 1, and he's got himself back underway, thankfully. But Coop and Liam, yeah, have gained from that. They've got themselves past the Ferrari and up into P15 and P16 respectively. X-Gamer all over the back. What's going on there? X-Gamer is off the circuit then, and he's lost out then to a Serious Mushroom. Vintage is off the circuit as well then. Vintage has gone. Vintage has ghosted. And what's happening to Vintage then? Vintage is now battling away with Kamara Racer. I'm not quite sure if Vintage has got an issue then, but he's off the circuit. He was up one. No, Gamer off the circuit then at turn 4. And I think potentially we're trying to go for an audacious move then on the Red Bull driver. And here comes another one as Reflection trying to get himself past Vintage as well then at a very unconventional place in the circuit. And that has, of course, caused Liam, yeah, as Jinner has retired from the session. And I think that might be another safety car. It is another safety car. And Jinner has caused a safety car then as we go through. Here you can see the Mercedes is stricken at the side of the it's gone now, but it is stricken at the side of the track. Then safety car has been called out for the second time here in the Hungarian Grand Prix. X-Gamer is going to carry on then into the pits. Comes Serious Mushroom and Sick as Muck then. Same for Kamara Racers, same for Vintage, same for Martin. So a lot of stops then will be unfolding, I think, in this stage of the race. Luckily for, well, I think again, luckily for those who haven't pitted just before the safety car, then we've got another round of pit stops, another flurry of pit stops then to take place here in the next few corners or so. Then Lucas Percy then would be in the first of them. 45 laps completed. Then we've got another 25 to go. Then if they've got another set of medium compound tyres, I think that's probably what they're going to be opting for here. But it could be a stretch then, potentially getting the softs to the end from here as well. Potentially there might be some drivers try and chance it, but we will see how it all plays out then as we've got safety car just letting everyone go through. I think everybody's on the lead lap still because Hungry Styles is coming out the pit lane now, and Lucas Percy just entering the pit lane here. So that, yeah, so Hungry Styles still on the lead lap then, and will of course be on the lead lap then when we finish the safety car period. But there we go then. Out of the pits comes Hungry Styles, then into the pits comes Lucas Percy, then onto a set of soft compound tyres, I think that is. So it's medium compound tyres then for Lucas Percy. Same Kaido and Equaz, they're just entering the pit lane too. Same for R2B then slowing the car down then just in time, and hopefully no 5-second penalties then for the drivers who are coming into the pit lane. And here we go then, back underway then. Kaido onto medium compound tyres. Inters for Equaz there, not an interesting strategy call then from Equaz then, not quite sure what's going on there. Vessia has stayed out then, so Vessia then up into P2, but on very old medium compound tyres compared to those who are going to be coming out right behind him. Equaz there, I think we'll have to make another stop then, because I don't think it's raining enough for the intermediate compound tyres then, so he's under a bit of pressure then, is Equaz. He's got to get himself back round and, of course, catch up to the safety car queue then and come back to the pit lane. I think that's going to be very costly indeed for Equaz, though, as I'm not quite sure why he has gone on to intermediate compound tyres at this stage of the race, unless he knows something that we don't, which in case it could be a masterstroke if it starts pouring with rain in the next lap or two. But unfortunately, at the moment, it just doesn't look like the right strategy then for Equaz there. So a bit of a shame for the Alfa Romeo driver. Then he's going to have to come into the box once again then and call it a day then on those intermediate compound tyres. But thankfully, he has not caught the safety car queue just yet. So he is not losing too much time then on terms of the delta then to those around him. But he's going to have to lose. He will lose a lot of places then to those who have, of course, pitted to the dry compound tyre at this stage of the safety car period. Then I'm not quite sure what is Equaz up to here, but he's having a few problems out there, it looks like. So yeah, we'll try and get that sorted, and he can hopefully get himself back to the pit lane as well then. So yeah, he needs to get himself onto the circuit as well, and also try and get himself into the box then to get off those intermediate compound tyres. But yeah, interesting stuff indeed then from Equaz there. He's really tried to roll the dice there, I think, but he's unfortunately it's not rained hard enough then for Equaz to make that strategical work in his favour then. So I think he's going to have to come back into the pit lane. Vessia is coming in the pit lane as well now. Yeah, so he has decided to call it a day as well on those medium compound tyres, sorry, but he is very slowly coming into the pit lane here as well. Here's Vessia then, so he's into the box now finally. Equaz is also back into the pit lane. I think there might have been a bit of confusion there down at the Alfa Romeo garage then, which has cost this error then for Equaz. He's going to be dropping outside the top 10 and onto a set of soft compound tyres. And away he goes then. He's going to be behind Vessia then, of course. And they're coming out the field, coming down the field now as well. Here comes Vintage there into P14. They're ahead of both of them now as they come out the pit lane. Martin, unfortunately, not going to be able to catch up to them, to those two, and make up a place. Then same for Hungry Styles, sorry, in P18. Equaz has said wets, so yeah, I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure what happened there for the Alfa Romeo driver. He's down into P16, I should say, after that fiasco. But yeah, fingers crossed. Then he can make up the places then in the Grand Prix, in the rest of the race, I should say, because that is not what he wanted and not ideal then for Equaz for sure. But I think the Alfa Romeo garage is going to be under a lot of scrutiny after this Grand Prix then, as to what the cause of that was and why that happened. As there we go then, filtering through the chicane. There goes the drivers then, just catching up to the queue is Hungry Styles then in P18, and I think we're going to be at least giving a bit more warning then for when the safety car will come in at the end of this lap then. So there we go. We can get ourselves back on the way then. For the rest of the Hungarian Grand Prix, we're going to have what is that, 23 laps of racing to the end of this Grand Prix, hopefully under green flag only, but we shall find out then as we get ourselves back underway for the second time. Then Lucas Percy now onto a fresh set of mediums again, same for Kydell. Then softs forgot R2B, who's up into podium places now. Gordo on the softs as well. Then X-Gamer is on slightly older mediums by 2 laps, I should say. New Zealand Cam on fresh softs, same for Farf there in P7 there on the softs. Reflection and Liam Yer on slightly older tyres as well then, but Liam Yer can try and struggle it out then on the older soft compound tyres, and then hards for the 4 behind, and then just outside the top 10. Then away we go then for the restart of this Grand Prix, and down the main straight once again. Then we fly onto lap 48 then of 70 into turn 1 we go. Then is Gordo going to line up a move then on R2B. He's going to go down the inside. There's contact between the 2 cars, and R2B then I'm not quite sure what that was a bit aggressive then from Gordo, then trying to dive down the inside there at turn 1, and now into turn 2. And they've got their elbows out here as well now. R2B and Gordo, then they've lost a lot of time to the 2 ahead of him, I should say. And R2B, they're struggling to hold on to P3. But Gordo, then it was a bit aggressive. I think they're onto the soft compound tyres, onto the grass at one point as well. But I think that ambitious move, let's put it that way, didn't pay off then. And unfortunately for R2B and for Gordo and for the rest of the pack, they've lost out a lot of time then to Kydell, who is 1.1 seconds behind Lucas Percy as it stands then. R2B is still in the podium places there, but they're still not in the 1 second window that they would like to be in. Of course, on the soft compound tyres, they would have been hoping for a much better restart on the softs compared to those on the medium compound tyres as well then. And they are now having to try and put pressure on, put paid then to that fact as well then. Kamara Race has been passed then by Vessia. Equaz has got himself past Vintage as well then into P15 then. Kamara Race on the hard compound tyres, same for the likes of Serious Mushroom and Coupe. They might not be very racy at the beginning of this restart here, but potentially towards the end of the Grand Prix they could phase in very, very nicely indeed. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out then. New Zealand Cam trying to go around the outside of Gamer, and he has not been able to make a move there on the soft compound tyres. Then Gamer covering off the inside then for turn 2, and New Zealand Cam stays in P6 for the time being as well then. I'm friends now with Keza B, it looks like, that's great news indeed. Fantastic stuff from Keza B, but there we are then. X-Gamer stays in P5 for the time being. Again, the battling there has cost them a bit of time then to the top 4 now. Got R2B then, has tried to get that gap back down for 1 second there between himself and Kydell. Then into the fight they go, and into the chicane they go as well. But the gap now is about 1 second between R2B and Kydell, which is good news for the Alpine driver on the soft compound tyres. He wants to try and get that move then potentially for P2 as well. Potentially, can he go for the race win if he's got the extra speed there on the softs compared to Lucas Percy? Then I think that would be a very mean feat if he can hold on to that. Then Gamer and New Zealand Cam still battling away then. Into sector 3 we go then as well, and here comes Farf there down the inside, down to the outside of the penultimate turn then, and he can't quite get his nose through there into the opportunity of an overtake, I should say then. DRS has been enabled, of course. There's no DRS on this lap then, but there will be DRS at the end of lap 50, which we're on now. Lap 50 there on to lap 51 then. Farf, I think he's going to try and line up a move then into turn 1. It's going to be close indeed then, and they're going to go side by side through turn 1. There's contact between the Alpine, not the Alpine, sorry, the Haas and the AlphaTauri. Now the AlphaTauri of New Zealand Cam has got the inside then into turn 2, but Favre trying to hold it around the outside on the soft compound tyres. Liam Yeh has caught up to this fight as well then, with all the battling that's been going on, and there is going to be contact again, I think, between the two of them as they go up the hill then towards turn 4. Then Haas has now got the precedent then on the AlphaTauri then into turn 5, and now trying to chase down X-Gamer then for P5 as well then. Good stuff indeed. Like I said, those on the hards or the mediums may not be very competitive at this opening stage of the restart then, as Vintage is off the circuit again, having an issue then. It was going very well for Vintage then before the safety car, second safety car, then he was up into the points paying position, but it's just not materialised then in the second phase of this Grand Prix, unfortunately for Vintage, which is a big shame indeed. But like I was saying, those on the mediums or the hards potentially, I think, will phase in at the end of this Grand Prix when the softs start to drop off. We saw those softs do about 15 laps or so. They've got to do about 25 in this final stint then, if they're going to make it to the end of the Grand Prix, that is, unless there's another stop then coming. So they've got quite a bit of a way to go then, those soft runners, and I think they might be under a bit of pressure then, literally, as they might start to pop then towards the end of the Grand Prix, if they're going to try and get to the end of the Grand Prix, that is. Serious Mushroom's got himself past Coupe then, up into the points paying positions as well then. The Ferrari driver looking good indeed, and getting himself back up the order then into the top 10, into the points paying positions as well for the Ferrari. And now he's got the reflection to try and get as well in the Aston Martin. Their reflection looking good indeed in the, after a difficult, very, very difficult opening 20 laps or so. He has now got himself back into the fight then for the points paying positions as well. Penalties do depend on that as well. We'll have a look at the penalty situation right now. 9 seconds for Favre, then 3 for Liam, 3 for Reflection, 3 for Coupe, 3 for Sick as Much, 6 for Vessia, 3 for Kamara, and 3 for Martin as well then. So of course those penalties that you saw there will be added on to their race time at the end of the Grand Prix, and so that would basically affect the race classification then at the end result. But that will of course we'll have to wait and see how it's going to impact the end result. We've got still another 19 laps to go at the end of this one. And we shall see how it is going to unfold then. I still think that those on the soft compound tyres, especially Liam Yeh, will have to make another stop in this Grand Prix, because I don't think they're going to be good enough to get to the end of the Grand Prix from here at this stage. Like I said, the tyre wear is very high around this circuit. It's a very high pressure circuit in terms of the tyre wear, in terms, because you're flying through these fast-paced corners then very regularly, especially through Sector 2. So it's very dangerous indeed then for the tyres then, as Favre got himself ahead of Gamer now into P5 then. Can he hold on to the position? He can do. Here comes New Zealand Cam there on Gamer, trying to get himself back through as well. These two were fighting the previous lap or two ago, and now they've got to slot themselves back into order as well. Once again, Cooper's got himself, has been passed by Sick as Muck now for P12. As Vessia has got himself ahead of both of them into P11. There, Vessia trying to catch up to the top 10 as well here in the Alpine. Equez has now got himself past Coupe as well. Coupe's struggling out there, it looks like, at this stage. But like I was saying, it could play back into his hands later on in this Grand Prix. So I think Coupe there is not done and dusted just yet. He's not down and out just yet then in the Williams. Same for Kamara Racer there in P15 as well. So we'll have to wait and see how it all unfolds then, and who is going to come out on top. Well, at the moment it looks like Lucas Percy is going to come out on top, but I think there's going to be a few drivers then potentially changing the order then in the top 10 to finalise the points paying positions as well then. So it's not all done and dusted just yet, I don't think. Lap 50, we're on lap 53 now of 70, I should say then. 17 laps to go, 18 laps to go actually, including lap 53 that is. But there we go then. Gordo's now trying to chase down R2 Beat then for the final podium place. Then the soft runners then of R2 Beat and Gordo then have dropped off the back of Kaidel, who is looking fantastic here in the McLaren I should say, and really flying great guns at the moment indeed as well. Hungry Styles and Martin, they're switching places there into turn 1, and Hungry Styles back up into P16. Their Vintage has really had an issue then in this last few laps then, and has dropped off the back of the pack then massively there. So unfortunately for Vintage there, that is not good news, of course, because he's got himself a bit of a work to do then in the rest of this Grand Prix. New Zealand Cam picks up a 3-second penalty. That is bad news for the New Zealand Cam, because he's now got the same penalty, I think, as Equaz, or as X-Gamer then, and as Liam Yeh, right around him and right ahead of him and right behind him. So that penalty effectively negates any gain that he would have got then for keeping it clean then throughout the rest of the race there, so long as of course he keeps the penalties down, then that he can gain some places. Here he comes then on the back of the Williams of Gamer then into the penultimate couple of corners then, but he can't make a move then. Later on the brakes on the AlphaTauri just doesn't have the performance then to do that sort of thing, as Daniel Ricciardo has found out many times. But New Zealand Cam there is still holding on to the back of that Williams then, looking to line up a movement as soon as possible, I think. Favre trying to stretch his legs there, trying to get that gap then. Of course, he's got 9 seconds penalties that be added onto his race time at the end of the Grand Prix, and that will be very costly indeed then. If the gaps stay as they are, then it will be demoted outside the top 10. So he needs to try and get himself a nice little gap then. New Zealand Cam under pressure now from Liam. Yeah, then we didn't see that coming. We thought New Zealand Cam was putting the pressure on Gamer there, but Liam, yeah, has got himself past the AlphaTauri then and into P7. Now good stuff indeed from Liam, yeah, really fighting on tooth and nail then in the Alfa Romeo. And looking good indeed. Out in the I thought there was some sort of incident there. New Zealand Cam was off the circuit. Was he off the circuit? I think he might have been, because Reflection has got himself through then into P8 now as well. Like I was saying, the drivers then who have got as New Zealand Cam is really having an issue now out there. It looks like he's dropped off the back now of Serious Mushroom as well. Is there wing damage there for the AlphaTauri? I'm not quite sure, but he's struggling out there indeed, and it looks like the wing is intact then for the AlphaTauri, but he's just not having a great time out there on this lap, unfortunately. And he has dropped down to P10 as it stands as well now. But like I was saying, then those who have done well, I'm looking at Lucas Percy, Kai Dell. I'm looking at Serious Mushroom then on the hards there. Same for Sick as Muck then. Equaz there on the mediums. Coupe and Kamara Racer and Vintage as well. Then I'm looking at those sort of drivers. Then I think they can get to the end of the Grand Prix on those tyres there, and I think the rest of the drivers then on the softs and potentially the older mediums as well will have to make another stop then. So it could still flip in others' favour. It could still flip in others not favour, I suppose you could say. Well, here we go. Then Reflection and Liam. Yeah, then Liam. Yeah, going very wide at turn one, and Reflection just flying through. And I'm very happy then with Liam. Yeah, just letting him through there into turn one there, up into P7. There goes the Aston Martin driver. And like I was saying, after an absolutely appalling start to this Grand Prix, he is now in a great position to get some good points here for the Aston Martin team and for himself, of course, in the standings. And now he's trying to fight the Williams there of X Gamer then for the next position that he's trying to get himself up in the order. But at the moment, then he's able to slot himself in nice comfortably into P7 as well. Gordo then is holding on to the back of R2 Beat then, but they've lost out then to the top two. And to be fair, Kaido was doing a great job of trying to minimise the loss then of time, that is, to Lucas Percy. And he's really keeping Lucas Percy slightly honest, actually, to be fair. If Lucas Percy were to pick up a penalty for track limits, for example, Kaido would technically be the race winner then, as it stands there with the time difference that is between the two of them. 2.6 seconds is the gap then between the top two. 1.8 back to R2 Beat then, who's now got a 1 second gap there to Gordo, but Gordo still has the DRS to try and keep up then with the Alpine. Bath up into P5 then, looking good indeed. X Gamer all over the back of him as well now. Here comes the Williams driver then down the hill towards turn one then. Aston Martin of Reflection still in that battle as well. Then Serious Mushroom and Liam, yeah, they're making contact into turn one then. Liam, yeah, not too happy there with Serious Mushroom. It doesn't look like then he's trying to get the power down there, and he's lost out then to Serious Mushroom. The Ferrari up into P8 now as well. Vessier and Sick as Muck going side by side through turn two, and getting your elbows out there is Vessier then. Both of these drivers there are very aggressive on track then, and oh dear, I think that was a bit of lag then, but I think Vessier has got the position there up into P10 now and ahead of the Aston Martin and Sick as Muck. Then Equaz is in the fight as well here, trying to get himself past both of them then on the fresh and medium compound tyres. I think Vessier's tyres then will still be okay for the time being, but they will start, because they're having a bit of a dodgy line through that chicane there, and that has cost them a bit of time then to the two ahead of them as well. But like I was saying then, I think there's going to be quite a few chopping and changing, as well as Hungary Styles has had an issue. And Hungry Styles is off the circuit, then letting Kamara Racer go through, and he's got himself back onto the grey stuff, which is where you want to be. Not the green stuff, it's the grey stuff that we race on, thankfully. So Hungry Styles there just getting himself back onto the track there, back underway as well. But like I was saying, I think there's going to be a few stops there coming as well in the next few laps or so. Serious Mushroom has got himself, like I said, ahead of Liam Yare now, and in range with the penalty situation then of a P5 position here. If he can hold on to those ahead of him, their Reflection, of course, with the 3 second penalty. The same for Gamer, and the same and 9 seconds for Favre. Sick as Muck and Vessier again battling away into turn one. And Vessier then has got himself back through, but here comes Sick as Muck then down the inside of turn two, and oh dear, there's more contact there between the two of them there, and that's just overly aggressive driving, to be fair. between the two of them there. They don't need to be too worried about this at this stage. There's lots of chopping and changes to come as well as we go into turn 4 now, and the Alpine has been nerfed wide a little bit there. Into turn 5 we go side by side then for the Alpine and the Aston Martin, and I think the Aston Martin has got himself through, and yeah, these two are getting a bit hot-headed, I think, out here in Hungary. Then under the sunshine here in Hungary, then it's of course beating down on their heads as they race around here for 70 laps, and it is a long race indeed there, but so far so good then for all the drivers, and they've done a good job of getting to the stage of the Grand Prix. It is no mean feat at all, then try and keep yourself concentrated and keep yourself racing in the right direction as well. Because especially around this circuit, this technical circuit as well, can be very challenging indeed, and especially in 100% distance as well. Right then, so we're on to lap 58 then of 70. Then we've got always Vessia then losing control of the car almost, as here comes that Gamer then on the Favre then into a turn 1 there. Favre down the inside then, Gamer losing traction then as well then, and there's contact between the two of them. Favre they're trying to get himself back through, but Gamer's got the grip, they've got the power, then they've got the energy, as contact between the Favre again then. He's into the back of Gamer, and these two again, similar to what Sickers Muck and Vessia were doing there, are battling away a bit aggressively indeed, and that, like I said, is not characteristic of 100% racing, to be fair, but there we go. Equaz there has got himself past Vessia now and trying to chase down Sickers Muck for that final points pen position as well, with the penalty situation ahead of him. Then he is already in the top 10 technically, is Equaz, sorry. So he can get himself past the Aston Martin as well, getting some more places in the long run as well then. I think Equaz could be in control here of New Zealand Cam has pitted again for a set of soft compound tyres, but picked up another penalty then for New Zealand Cam. Unfortunately, that is not going too well then for the AlphaTauri driver, but potentially on the fresh soft compound tyres, sorry, he can get himself back into the fight as well then. I do expect those on the softs then ahead of New Zealand Cam there will make another stop then very shortly, because I think they're going to be struggling to get to the end of the Grand Prix. New Zealand Cam there off the circuit again, then that's another warning then probably from Codemasters as well. Yeah, unfortunately for him, that is very costly indeed. Kaido has got a 3-second gap then to the race leader of as we've got Reflection going for the inside of Favre now. Down the inside goes the Aston Martin then. Switchback he's trying to go for a switchback is Favre then, but on the traction then Reflection has got himself into P6 and ahead now of the Haas driver then. He's going to have to do another 10 laps there, or 11 laps or so on those medium compound tyres. Then that'll be 28 laps in total. I think that might be a bit of a struggle then for Reflection there. He might have to make another stop very shortly indeed. They're same for most people, to be fair, as I think they're going to start struggling very soon on these tyres that they're on. So maybe there's going to be more stops to come then. Only 11 laps to go here, and it is going to get quite intense, I think, towards the end of this Grand Prix. Hungry Stars sets the fastest lap of the race, then great stuff indeed from Stars for keeping going in this Grand Prix. Of course, that will be an extra point for himself and the Red Bull team if he can hold on to that in the next 10 laps or so. Lucas Percy then is out in front there by 4 seconds, almost there, crossing the line to start lap 60 of 70 as well then. So there is 11 laps left to tick through. Of course, the 11th lap being this lap itself as well, lap 60, as we go around the final corner then for Reflection. Then is there going to be any more pit stops in this race? Liam Yates staying out as well then, 17 or 18 laps now on the soft compound tyres. We saw some drivers then pitting with only 12, 13 laps on the softs there, so it is a mammoth stint indeed then in terms of getting himself through. 3-second benefit for Kamara Racer. That is bad news indeed, but like I said, with Kamara Racer on the hard compound tyres, I think if he just keeps the concentration, then he can get potentially, as he goes for a move there on Martin there into P14, he can potentially get himself back up into the points paying positions as well then, penalties permitting that is, but he could be on course then for a good finish here for Kamara Racer then if he stays out then and gets to the checkered flag. Then I think he's actually he's in a bit of a dark horse there is Kamara Racer, and he's could be in the fight then. Same for Coop as well then, same for Sickers Muck then for some for big points here tonight then in the Hungarian Grand Prix. A bit tired here, unfortunately, but we've only got 10 laps to go now as Reflection picks up a penalty as well. That is bad news indeed, but there's more penalties rolling in, and that is 6 seconds now for Reflection, 3 for Gamer, then 9 for Favre, 3 for Liam, then 3 for Sickers Muck, 6 for Vessia, 3 for Coop, 6 for Kamara Racer, and 3 for Martin, and 6 for New Zealand Cam as well then, who is on to a fresh set of soft compound tyres now, and trying to chase down Vintage and Martin as well then for the final points. Liam is into the box then. He's called it a day then. 19 laps on the soft compound tyres. I think he needed to come into the pit lane before they popped, I think, as he comes into the box then to get onto a new set of, I guess, soft compound tyres as well. Soft compounds once again then for the Alfa Romeo, and back out he goes then, back underway, and he's going to be out of the order then as it stands then. But of course, like I was saying, like I'm thinking, I think that there's going to be a few more stops to come then for not only Liam Yeh after he has now come out of the box then onto a set of soft compound tyres once again, but I think there'll be a few others then who now call it a day there on their soft compound tyres as well, because they're going to be screaming at this stage of the Grand Prix there. This could open the door then for Serious Mushroom, this could open the door for Equaz, open the door for Coupe and for Kamara Racer as well then. And I think this is where it starts to change then in some drivers' favour there, as we've seen a few stops already. Then let's see what the rest of the field are going to be up to as well in the next few corners time. Then out in front there, Lucas Percy is staying out then onto lap 62 of 70 as well. Then Kydell staying out as well then onto lap 62 for him as well. Then R2 Beat staying out then 16 laps now on the soft compound tyres for R2 Beat. That is a mammoth stint indeed. He's lost a lot of time though to the top two. Gordo there struggling on as well on the old soft compound tyres. Gamer stays out then, Reflection stays out as well. Then Serious Mushroom there is going to get himself back in the fight as well, but here comes Farf then on the back of the Ferrari then into turn one. He has to sit in behind there, stays P8 then, but still going on the old soft compound tyres too. Equaz there is in a good spot, I think they're on 15 lap old medium compound tyres. Coupe and Vessier switching places there into turn one. A switch back there from Vessier, very nicely done indeed, to hold on to P11 for the time being there. But here comes Coupe once again. They're back into turn two. Can't make the move just yet, unfortunately. Sickers Mark back into the points paying positions as well. Like I was saying, those on the hard compound tyres I think will start to phase in to this Grand Prix, and especially if there's more stops to come, then I think they could phase in very nicely indeed by getting themselves into the top 10. But there we go then. Kamara Racing now under pressure from New Zealand Canada into turn 4 we go then. Off the circuit goes Kamara, then into turn 5 we go as well now, as New Zealand Canada breathing down the neck there up the Haas driver, then into, oh, he's off the circuit. There goes the AlphaTauri, and I think they're struggling to try and get himself past the Haas there. Of course, the Haas is on much older tyres, and New Zealand Canada is on fresh soft compound tyres then, so he's going to have a lot more pace in the car. Even though he's in a different car, he's going to have a lot more pace there under the wheels there, under the car I should say, to get themselves through there. Into sector 3 we go then. Kamara Racer just trying to move out the way, I think, there of the AlphaTauri then, as we go into sector 3 then for the 63rd time there. Vintage has picked up a penalty. That is bad news for Vintage. Then he's still soldiering on out there, but fair play to him there. Liam Yeh has got himself past, well, not got himself past, sorry, just trying to catch up to the back of the field at this stage, as we've got more chopping and changing out the order. Then Reflection has got himself up into P5 now, ahead of Gamer, has he? Yes, he has done, up into P5 then for the Aston Martin. Then Gamer dropping down to P6 now, into the second turn of the circuit then, and up we go then for Reflection there, into P5 then, Gamer down to P6 then, but like I said, still battling away then. And I don't think that's going to be a viable move then for the Williams driver, then trying to go down the inside from behind at turn 4. Maybe not the best option there, I would say, sir. But there we go then, out in front, 17 laps now for the top 4 on their tyres as well. 21 laps there for Reflection, 19 laps then for Gamer, 18 laps sorry for Serious Mushroom. But the good news for Serious Mushroom is on the hard compound tyres, which I think could probably do about half the Grand Prix here as well without any issues then. So he's in a good spot, I think. There is Serious Mushroom then going wide there at at the final couple of corners then for sector 2. Into sector 3 we go then. And it's starting to heat up here as well slightly, especially for the points pen positions as well. I think we're going to have to see some stops as well very soon. They're just they can't be pushing this hard on these tyres then to get them till to the end. They're going to be absolutely screaming at the end of the Grand Prix. Serious Mushroom, I think, like I said, in the prime position here as well. Same for Sickers Mark then. New Zealand Canada has got past Kamara Racer, but Kamara Racer can keep it, if he keeps his head down, I think can get himself back into the points pen positions as well here. Just needs to get himself to the end of the Grand Prix, and there in behind there is Liam Yeh on the back of Martin. They're trying to get himself past the Ferrari driver into turn 1 then, as we go side by side there into turn 1 then, and the move has been made there. Down the inside goes the Alfa Romeo, then up into P16, and of course on it was Martin's had an issue there coming out of the turn 1 there, on the fresh soft compound tyres now, trying to make up the moves, make up the positions as quickly as possible. Then is Liam Yeh after pitting for the fresh soft compound tyres. Then of course he'll have a lot more grip, a lot more speed compared to those who are on older tyres around him as well. Then Farf picks up another penalty. That's 12 seconds for Farf that we added onto his race time. He's currently in P8, and that will promote him outside the top 10 as it stands, I think. And now Liam, all over the back of Vintage as well, then into the chicane, and he's already got the pressure on already straight away then after getting past Martin, and now past trying to get himself past the Red Bull then and the Haas of Vintage and Kamara Racer respectively as well. Into lap 65 we go then. Hopefully we can get a driver of the day poll in the comment section. If somebody hasn't done it yet, then tag Smithy Almighty or Ginger Rage there in the comment section, in the Discord, sorry I should say, and let them know then. Liam, getting themselves past Vintage then 4P15. Now the soft compound tyre starting to work in his favour as he gets them switched on now, and after the next target I should say of Kamara Racer then onto the main straight we go then. DRS is enabled then for Liam, then of course squeezing past the Haas there, 20 laps on the hard compound tyres then for as here comes Vintage as well then, trying to get himself down the inside of Kamara Racer then, not quite being able to make a move then just yet. New Zealand Cam getting himself past Coop as well then, so both New Zealand Cam and Liam, like I was saying then, on the fresher soft compound tyres then are going to be making moves in the latter stages of this Grand Prix, and I think could be a outside horse then of getting themselves back into the points paying positions as well. So it's not all done and dusted just yet then for these two. Everyone else seems to be soldiering on there, which is a fantastic feat indeed, as Unican there on the brink, much later than Vessia then has got himself past the Alpine up into P11 then. Vessia then holding on there on those old soft compound tyres. Like I said, the soft compound tyres must be absolutely screaming at this stage of the Grand Prix. They've got another 5 laps to go, well 4.5 laps to go then at this stage. No, they've got another 5 laps to go actually, or 4.5 I suppose you could say. Yes, there we go, good stuff indeed. Right, I've got my maths sorted. Right then, here comes Serious Mushroom then on the back of Gamer then. Can he get himself through then past the Williams then for P6 then at this stage of the Grand Prix? The LS lights flashing away then, of course the fuel lights will start flashing away as well soon. We'll have a look at the fuel situation as well. Give me 1 second. We'll start with Lucas Percy then. The fuel light not on there, the AlphaTauri, which is going to be unique. Of course, he saw that issue then in Austria at the opening round of the season. Then Kaidel, no issues. Then R2 beat the same. Then Gordo the same. Same for Reflection. Same for X Gamer as well. Then good stuff indeed. Serious Russian, no issues as well. Farf then is run out of ERS then, but he's still got enough fuel on board. Same for Equaz. Same for Sickles Muck then. It looks like all the drivers then have got themselves nicely sorted then. With their fuel situation at least then. Safety cars have helped out of course there as well to get themselves through the checkered flag there. New Zealand Campus put some another penalty then for his efforts, as unfortunately I think that is now 9 seconds of penalties then for 9 seconds of penalties then for the AlphaTauri driver. There's the penalties for Scooby Stew. We're going to look at the penalties anyway as well, because we need to get the driver of the day poll sorted, but nobody's done it yet, so there we go. But there's your penalty situation at the moment then. 6 seconds for Reflection, which would demote him down the order quite significantly actually as well, but with the penalties for Gamer as well, and for Farf and for Sickers Muck, not New Zealand Cam, they're down in P11 with 9 seconds, 6 seconds for Vessia, 3 for Coop, 3 for Liam, 3 for Vintage and Martin, and then 6 for Kamara Race. And then I think that Reflection might be actually in the top 10 still at the end of the Grand Prix. Farf and Equaz getting himself up into P8 now, and that is the move that he needs to make. Then of course on the fresher, but only slightly fresher, hard medium compound tyres I should say, down the order then Liam, the yellow flags then for a Red Bull then of Hungary Styles I think then, trying to get himself sorted and get himself back underway then please, which would be good. But there we go then, Liam getting himself past Vessia now. Liam on the brink I think, or he will be on the brink I think, of the points paying positions at the end of this Grand Prix. He's got 2.5 laps or so to go then, but he's got much fresher tyres than everybody else ahead of him. 6 lap old soft compound tyres then for Liam, compared to, well, the next fresher tyres is 11 laps then for New Zealand Can then, but everybody else is on 20 or more on their tyres then from the top 10. So Liam, on the fresh soft compound tyres potentially could bring that gap down very significantly in the last couple of laps or so, especially if there's any punctures then for the top 10 as well. Wing change then for Hungary Styles then onto a set of soft compound tyres once again then. Hopefully he can get himself back underway then to get himself a fastest lap point. I think he currently holds the fastest lap point, doesn't he? Yes, he does, which is good stuff indeed from Hungary Styles then. But not having a great time in Hungary, unfortunately, for Styles at this stage, although that point is still going to be in his favour as well then. Right then, out in front, Lap 68 then of 70. We've got 2.5 laps to go here in this Grand Prix. Lucas Percy looking comfortably in control out there, but Kydell, since the second safety car, has actually kept him quite honest indeed, I would say out there. Vessia is in the pit lane. Vessia calling it a day then on the soft compound tyres. A bit of a late call there for Vessia, but he has made his pit stop now, and unless there's lots of punctures then for drivers ahead of him, then unfortunately for Vessia, that's going to be him outside the top 10, outside the points pair positions, and potentially can go for the fastest lap point as well though, but unfortunately for Vessia, not working out in his favour. Then it did look at one point that he was looking strong in this Grand Prix in the opening stint as well then, but like I was saying, in Grand Prix racing anything can happen, and it usually does then, as the old famous old Murray Walker quote, of course. But like I was saying, in terms of the Grand Prix itself here, you've seen what 100% racing is like. Then it can literally flip on its head at different stages of the race, of course, and that comes down to the strategy, of course, the safety cars that we've seen already in this Grand Prix, but in any Grand Prix as well, and it can really affect the overall result of the Grand Prix as well. But so far, it has been pretty good indeed. We haven't got a driver of the day poll, but that I think it's going to be going to either Reflection or R2 Beat at this stage, because it looks pretty good there in terms of position changes for the Alpine and for the Aston Martin. Then Serious Mushroom has also gained a couple of places. I think he'll actually gain 2 more places then for the penalty situation there for Gamer and Reflection, and finish in P5 I should say, for Serious Mushroom. So it's not all done and dusted just yet. Then, like I was saying, there could also be some issues then with tyre situations, as Liam Yeh trying to go through past New Zealand Cam. Then he has got himself past New Zealand Cam, and now into the onto the brink of the top 10 as well, onto lap 69. Giggity. No comment. But lap 69 then of 70. Then we've got only a lap and a half or so to go in this Grand Prix then to finish off the Hungarian Grand Prix. And it's not going to be too tight at the top, it doesn't look like, but it's going to be tight everywhere else, it seems, as Liam Yeh now on the chase then for the top 10. And I think we'll be able to get in, inside the top 10 to be fair, very quickly indeed on those fresh soft compound tyres. It's not going to be too difficult, to be fair. Now in front there, Gordo has been caught then by Reflection. And Gordo is having a problem out there. Gordo is struggling indeed there on those soft compound tyres as we go through the last couple of corners of the lap then, and he is really struggling on those tyres. Then here comes Reflection then with the DRS as well. He's going to get himself onto the P4 then with the extra speed as we go down the straight then towards turn 1. Then Gamer, I think, is a bit too far back to make any moves. Then Gordo trying to slot himself back into turn 1 then ahead of the Williams driver. He is ahead of the Williams driver for the time being there. Liam Yeh's got himself past Sick as Muck now into turn 1 as well. And there we go then, as Serious Mushroom then is into P7. Then Gordo dropping down to P5, but again with the penalty situation, then if so long as his tyres can hold on, he will finish in P4 with the penalty situation then for Reflection as well. But Gamer might have something to say about that. Vessia sets the fastest lap of the race. That's great stuff indeed from Vessia for soldiering on here. But here is your race leader, who has led, I think he led every lap pretty much. But the pole sitter then, the race leader, then he's coming round the penultimate corner then in the AlphaTauri. Then it is Lucas Percy, who is going to cross the start-finish line in just a few seconds' time then to take his second victory of the season and take the win here after 70 laps in the Hungarian Grand Prix. Your winner for the Hungarian Grand Prix, Lucas Percy, once again on the top step of the podium. Fantastic race indeed then from Lucas Percy, then very controlled as well, even with the safety cars trying to play a bit of havoc with his strategy. Kydell with a fantastic Grand Prix as well into P2 then. Fantastic result then from the McLaren driver. R2B does finish in P3, 25 laps on the soft compound tyres. Gordo claims P4 as he crosses the line then. Serious Mushroom in P5 in the end with the penalty situation. Then Equaz into P6, Gamer into P7 there with the penalties added on. Reflection down to P8 then. Liam Yeh into P9 with the penalties as well for the drivers around him. Sick as Muck stays in P10 I should say after all of that as well. Then 5 down outside the top 10 just about by 5 seconds after the penalties. Coop in P12, Vintage P13, New Zealand Cam there P14, Martin in P15, Kamara Racer P16, and then we had Vessia and Hungry Styles then P17 and P18. Unfortunately, retirements were Jinnah and Moomin Ninja then from the Hungarian Grand Prix. Right then. we'll have a quick look at the classifications then, and we'll hopefully get the top 3 then in for an interview. So well done to everybody out who finished the Grand Prix. Was a intense Grand Prix indeed, I think, especially with the technicalities of the circuit as well then. But there is Lucas Percy on the top step of the podium. Then in the AlphaTauri, then Kydell in P2 in the McLaren, R2 Beat in P3 in the Alpine as well. And great stuff indeed then from all 3, and great stuff indeed from all 18 drivers who finished the Grand Prix as well. But to be fair, it wasn't going to be an easy one for sure, and we did expect a few issues as well then with turn 4, namely, and turn 5. But thankfully, 18 drivers got through, so well done. Lucas Percy then in P1, then Kydell P2, R2 Beat P3. Great stuff indeed from the top 3. Gordo in P4 once again, then his familiar position in the 100% league. Serious Smash from there without any penalties, then gains up into P5. Airquaz in P6, then Gamer in P7, Reflection P8, Liam Yare P9, Sick as Muck in P10, then Favre P11, Coop in P12, Vintage in P13, New Zealand Cam P14, Martin in P15, Kamara Racer P16, Vessier in P17, Hungary Styles P18, Jinner and unfortunately Movement Ninja P19 and P20, then DNF'd in the Grand Prix earlier on there, and that is the cause of 2 different safety cars, 2 separate safety cars, that is as well. All right, then that is that then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Round 3 of ALR Season 10 has been completed. Of course, that's the whole season, that is. But we have done the whole of round 3. Then there is your finishing order then for the Hungarian Grand Prix. I need a nice little sit down, I think, after that one. Firstly, before I have my sit down, then we'll have a quick chat then with Lucas Percy then, who has just joined us then in the commentary box. Then I think hopefully you can hear me. But Lucas Percy, your second race win of the season then, didn't run out of fuel this time either, and he seemed in control of that race pretty much from the get-go. I don't know if you can hear me. That's pretty good then. Right, well, he's not talking, so that is interesting stuff indeed. My headset's on, so yeah. I don't know who. Okay, we'll come on to Lucas Percy another time. R2 Beat then in the comments and the commentary box. Hopefully you can hear me. Can you? No. All right. Well, I'm not quite sure what's going on here then. Bear with me 1 second. I'll try and sort this out. But it seems like they can't hear me in the. Hello? Can anybody hear me in the commentary box? Hello? Can anybody hear me in the commentary box? Alright then, we can't hear each other, so that's fantastic. Right then, well, I don't know what to do here. 1 second, I'll try something else. Lucas Percy then, who has just joined us in the commentary box then, I think hopefully. Right, good stuff indeed. I don't think anyone can hear me, so we'll have to just carry the interviews there, unfortunately. So
we can hear you now. We can hear
you.
Yeah.
There we go then. We can hear me now. Good stuff indeed. R2 Beat then, we'll start off with you because you finished P3 in the end. How are you liking the Alpine instead of the Haas?
Way better. Way better.
Good stuff. I thought you would say that, but no, it was a fantastic race from yourself, and you kept it calm and clean. There was a lot of battling going on throughout the field, to be fair, and you made up quite a few places then with just calling the strategy right as well, even with the safety car sort of playing a bit of havoc with that as well. But overall, a fantastic race from yourself. And did you think you were on for a podium at the beginning of the race, or did you think you were just going to take it easy and see what's going to come out of the race?
I was just like no expectations. I was maybe top 10, but Hungary, I hate Hungary normally. I will make a lot of mistakes, but today everything was pretty good. So,
well, it was a good
with
result
the end result
for yourself, and congratulations for yourself on the podium. Then, can you keep up the feat then for I think it's Belgium next week?
Hopefully. Let's try it again.
Good stuff indeed, and we will see you hopefully with your home Grand Prix in a week's time. Then great stuff. Well, it's not your home Grand Prix, is it? It's,
No,
yeah,
I'm a Dutchman with an Italian flag.
Your home Grand Prix after that one, then, so that's all right. It's near enough. But there we go.
It's
Well done
kind
indeed
of-
to RTV. Fantastic stuff indeed. Kydell, I think I don't know if Kydell has joined us.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, I can hear
He's
you.
here, yeah, good stuff indeed. Fantastic race from yourself then, and I'm going to say the same question there. You must be enjoying the switch from the Haas then to the McLaren this time.
Just a little, just a little. It's a bit of an improvement.
Good stuff indeed. And did you think you had the pace there at the beginning of after the qualifying at the beginning of the Grand Prix there to get yourself on the podium, or again were you just taking it lap by lap?
I was surprised by the qualifying. I did make a little mistake, but I was, I think, fourth. But that could have been more in front, and the race was very nice. It's very shame that Iquaz had another weather report than we, so he went on intermediates. Otherwise, we would have a good battle till the end, I think.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what happened there to Equaz, but yeah, we'll have to find out from him in the Discord. But a fantastic result then from yourself in P2 for the McLaren then, and hopefully many more to come as well as we come on to your home race next week in Belgium. So are you looking forward to that one?
Yes, it's a very nice one, so let's hope it goes well.
Great stuff indeed, and well done once again then for the podium from Kydell then.
Thank you.
Percy then, another race win for yourself. Then you seem to have got the fuel situation sorted, and then there's no issues for yourself.
Yeah, I think the safety cars were a bit of a stroke of luck, because otherwise there was no chance I was making it to the end of that race. I think after five laps at the start, I'd already lost a chunk of fuel, so I was having to lift and coast already, so I was getting a bit nervous about that. But yeah, as I said, thankfully the safety cars came out and allowed me to save a bit.
And you had a nice little gap there. Did you think that, well, nice little gap before both safety cars, to be fair, but did you think that Kydell might be holding on a bit of a challenge then towards the end of the Grand Prix there on that final stint then?
I did, he had me worrying. I was worrying about my tyres compared to his, because obviously he's in the McLaren. It would have had a lot better tyre wear, so he made me push for it. And yeah, I've burnt a bit of a sweat, so that's good.
70 laps around here is, well, I'm sweating. I just commentated on it, to be fair, so well done to everybody. You finished the Grand Prix, and well done to yourself as well. But another win under your belt then. Is the title challenge already confirmed, or is it just going to be race by race for yourself?
I think just take it race by race. Obviously, German's still got to come back. We're going to have, I mean, everyone's going to be a threat in this league because of the car performance. So it's just, yeah, like you say, race by race. And see what happens then.
Well, cracking stuff indeed, and we'll be back for more action then after, thank you very much for your podium drivers of course, but we're back for more action then for the 100% League in a week's time then in Belgium. We've got, of course, more action coming up in ALR. We've got Sunday, we've got Gold, who are taking on the Hungary Ring as well. Same for Silver on Monday, and same for Bronze on Tuesday, so stay tuned, there's plenty more action coming up, and we'll see you soon.